Thursday night. Here we go, guys. Let me tell you something here. A little bit about the show. I always like talking a little bit about the pregame or the behind the scenes. You know, so my Mixer show, I see YouTube is acting up a little. I promise you it's not on my side. Everything over here says excellent conditions on this side. Doesn't mean it's going to be excellent conditions everywhere. But let me know how the audio is, guys. Really means a lot to me that the sound is right. I may have to turn mine down a bit or turn the panel up a bit. Either way, you guys let me know. That being said, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Means the world to me. We got a lot of stuff going on. I won't take too much time because we started a little bit late tonight, about 5 minutes late. But we are going to be doing a lot of stuff over on twitch.tv. I saw a lot of people actually going over and subscribing. Don't be frustrated with that. We have a full schedule. The same way that I do Crossfire every Thursday, we're going to be doing a set number of days that will be written in stone over on Twitch. And the same thing everywhere. Mooch TV, drop the O's for zeros, M00, CHTV. That's on every platform. Go over and after the show, check me out over on Twitch. We're going to be starting probably around mid-March, April timeframe as we get things prepared over there. But I want to have a steady lineup and be able to make a schedule I can stick to for you guys. The same way that you guys depend on Thursday night Crossfires is the same way I want you guys to depend on Twitch. I don't want to just do them the way we used to do them, where it was like, hey, I'm streaming tonight. Come over and check it out. See what happens. That being said, let everybody know that we are live right now. And I'm going to introduce this great panel. We've got other people joining us second hour. Some people couldn't come until 8 p.m., which is going to be great. I see Lucci Sky out there, Mary Wilcox, great to have her, mass produce. Jerome's out there, Neil Augusto, great to have you guys. Please spread the word on social media. You guys know him. Usually he's 5 to 10 minutes late, but tonight I was 5 minutes late. So that means that he was perfectly on time, which has to aggravate him and his producers. The great Crap Gamer's back. Crap, how you doing tonight, buddy? Great to have you on the show.
What's up? How's it going?
Great.
It's always good to be here. It's especially when there's a lot of stuff to talk about. You had a game kind of release.
Yes.
But only if you're one of those rich folk that can afford the pre-sale or whatever. But again, it's like I can understand that on some games like multiplayer and stuff, but odd for like single player games.
Very.
But anyway, it's an interesting day. There was a state of play yesterday. There's Sony's financials,
yes.
Which is crazy because I had heard all this talk that consoles were on the way out, Mooch.
Yeah, I thought they were done, Crap.
They're done. Consoles were done. Microsoft said so. Phil Spencer told me so multiple times.
Yeah, who plays on console?
Done. Yeah, I mean, consoles, they don't go. Nobody buys consoles. No, those things are dead in the water. Then I looked and I saw the Switch about to break all-time records for console sales. I see the PS5 all of a sudden miraculously making huge strides and selling a third of what Xbox sold in its entire lifespan in a quarter alone. It's insane. It's like almost like people enjoy console gaming.
That's odd.
And consoles that have exclusive games tend to actually sell.
No.
I thought, yeah, I think there might be.
You don't think?
We need to form a committee. Yeah, we need to form a committee and figure this out, right?
Let's get a secret Discord going. How about that?
Yes, a secret Discord where we can trash. No, like Nintendo exclusives sells well. PlayStation exclusives, console exclusives, whatever you want to say, sells well. Xbox went many years without exclusives. When it finally got some games, put them on PlayStation, and sells piss poor. There's something there. I'm no scientist guy, but there's something there. We'll have to figure out what's going on. Maybe we will. So, I'm looking forward to doing the show. Lots to talk about.
Crap, outstanding intro right there. You kind of hit some pivotal points we're going to be talking about tonight. Speaking of that, we have the right dais here tonight to make sure we hit those points. You guys know him as the great D Batch. I love it. D, honestly, again, you had to go out there guns blazing this week as numbers kind of proved what you've been saying for the past few months. Accurate. But D, great to have you here tonight. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Yeah, I got to reiterate what Crap said, man. It just shows you that exclusives matter. Just wrap your head around this. From October till December, they sold 9.5 million consoles.
Jesus.
In all of 2024. Xbox sold reportedly 2 million. Now, I've been tracking the numbers a little bit more closely. It's a little bit more than 2 million. So let's say I had them at about 2.7, but I think the real number is probably around 2.5. So let's say 2.5. So they sold 2.5 million consoles of the Series S and X for the entirety of 2024.
Jesus.
And you're telling me that exclusives don't matter. And you're yelling at me for going on X and saying, that, the console's going to die when you're seeing it happen before your own eyes, caught in 4K. And you think it's going to get better with the games, more games coming over to the PlayStation? Why would someone buy an Xbox Series X and then you want to tout about Game Pass? And I love Game Pass. I think it's a fantastic service. But you know what it ain't doing? It ain't selling consoles because they only sold 2.5 million last year. You know what it is building up? It's building up on PC, though. I know it's building up on PC, and that doesn't help the console, does it? Right? So, I don't know, man. The writing's on the wall, man. Let's just get into the show, man.
Yeah, no. Great points there, D. Interested to hit I've got 12 topics. We'll probably get to 3 of them. You guys know that. The great J-Dub City's with us. Jay, we had a show. There was a show yesterday. You guys might have heard of it, State of Play. And Jay, you went out there without a second's notice and started, talking it up after the show. And I know people were on you left and right. But Jay, welcome to the show tonight, buddy. Can't wait to get your opinions on what we're going to be discussing. How you doing?
Definitely. Doing good. Listen, man, we had a State of Play show yesterday, and they showed like over 35 games.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing about it, I like, we saw a ton of new IP that we didn't know it was, we didn't know what was going on, that they even, it's just out of the blue. These are games, and we're like, man, what is that? Who's making that? Like, it was just very exciting to just have a lot of games. Of course, up front, they showed you the stuff that's coming out really quick. The stuff like Monster Hunter that's coming out at next week.
Yes.
Or I think next week or the end of the month or something like that. So that's coming out quick. So they kind of recap that stuff, but they got that stuff out the way, and then they focus on a lot of brand new IP, and that's that's kind of what we're looking forward to. Okay, what are we going to be playing this year? And the good thing about it is they showed release dates, because a lot of these shows they just, hey, it's coming, but it's we don't know what day or whatever. So we had some release dates, and I guess the big thing to me is they showed a shitload of games, pardon my French, that said this is operating on the PS5 Pro.
That's right.
How about that? For all the people who are looking for a reason to get a PS5 Pro, well, those games they showed, they was looking mighty spiffy with ray tracing and fast frames and everything else. Running on the PS5 Pro. So I think it was positive for all gamers. There was something there for all gamers. It showed a huge variety of games. We even got a brand new first party game that we didn't know was cooking, and and they talked.
Absolutely.
They're going to change the format where they're going to start doing some State of Play specifically for the game. So they'll have like a Ghost of Yotai State of Play dedicated for that, to show you the gameplay and the rollout of that. And so, I think that's Sony they're trying to figure out what's best for gamers and what fits, and how to give the rollout and this marketing stuff like that to their partners, to their first party and stuff like that. They're figuring it out. They'll get it down. And I know we all want a State of what do they call it?
Showcase.
PlayStation showcase and stuff like that, because they did such a great job back in, I think it was 2017 or 2016 or whatever. And when they showed all those games and stuff like that, I just think, we just kind of got spoiled. Will they ever do that again? I don't know. Maybe because, Xbox, I mean, at this point, they really have no competition to force them to do it. So they really don't, maybe they just don't really feel the pressure to do it. And,
I think you made some good points, Jay. And a lot of what happened yesterday and the feedback that we saw from the community, we're going to get into. And I'm going to let everybody kind of shuffle in here as we introduce the great Death Singer who's here with us, because we're going to get to the meat and potatoes, which is not just the games that were released over at State of Play, or pardon, not released, but discussed yesterday, but what the community was said afterwards. But Death Singer, you are going to have quite the evening tonight. And, I'll start actually with a question for you after introduction. First, I want to know how you're doing, Death Singer. Everything good tonight? Or I should say early morning over there.
I'm doing great. We've had back-to-back Western RPG hits, which is good considering Dragon Age failed miserably, and it won the good look, especially when you consider big Western RPGs coming out, like Baldur's Gate 3 smash hit. Then you have Dragon Age as the follow-up, which is a fail. And then you're like, and then I'm like, yo, Kingdom Come Deliverance, deliver. They delivered.
They did.
Then I was like, Obsidian, you need to deliver. Delivered. And then I'm like, okay, what are they coming out? Fable, potentially. Outworlds 2. I think we're in a really good year in time span for Western RPGs right now. So that's really got me excited. And I mean, the state of play was, fine. There was a bunch of games that, I'm glad they're coming day and date on PC. And, it was overall, nice state of PC.
Well, before we get to the state of PC, as you like to put it, Death Singer, let me start you with this. We'll start with a little bit of something that I found interesting. I kind of took a note of it. About a week ago, there was a few of the big outlets. I'm not talking about anybody in the community or anybody's opinions. And I put this out there. I'll put this out there for the show, too. Between Keymail, I think it's Keymailer and Xbox, I did I was telling Death Singer yesterday, I got a review code for Avowed. I have not started it. I was going to start it last night, but you actually couldn't start it till today. So I had work, and then I'm doing the show. I'm going to be playing after. So I hope to have a review out next week on it. So I'm going to keep numbers and I'll give my opinions on what I've seen so far, but I haven't seen anybody's official review. But I did see pre-reviews, the ones that we all saw about a week or two ago. A lot of the folks out, I don't know if it was VGC, but there was a couple of outlets that got a chance to go and play Avowed early. And Detzinger, my question to you, and then the panel, I really want you guys to chime in on this, is I've noticed that before Redfall comes out, before Starfield comes out, all these people get to go to previews, and the previews are absolutely just glamorous, right? They're amazing. Wait till you play Avowed. It's going to be, wait till you see this. Obsidian does it again. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching it. I heard this about Redfall. I heard this about Starfield. I've heard this over. Wait till you see Turn 10 and what they're doing with Forza Motorsport. We got 2 hours. Listen to this. And I'm like, then the reviews come out and the game comes out, and what's on one side of the equals is supposed to equal, a similar number, if not the exact same number, of course the exact same number on the right side of the equals. It doesn't match. It doesn't match.
Yeah.
All of these folks said Avowed was going to be a darling. It was going to be amazing. And now we have reviews, and there's people that are saying, I saw, it's just on Twitter, it says, these are big-time reviewers. They're saying, the game's broken. It doesn't work. Yeah. We can't load in. It keeps crashing. It's stuttering. Forget the janky thing. It's way worse, they're saying. I haven't played it, so I don't know. I'm not saying I had that issue. But why is this becoming a trend, guys?
Gene gave it a 7.
I saw one video. I forget the content creator, and he had to blur it because he said he's not allowed to actually show the part where he's having the issue, and that's pretty bad, man. And I did see another reviewer that said, my friend was reviewing the game and he encountered a big problem in this part where the frame rate dropped down. So I went to that part, but it's not happening to me. And I saw Digital Foundry do something similar. So it looks like there are some little quirks to it. Now, as far as the review, this is not my type of game. I was mulling over it last night because, of course, I have Game Pass Ultimate, so I can just upgrade for $25, whatever it is, right? To play it day one.
But you're not going to do it, right?
I was thinking about doing it, and then I said, you know what? I don't like this type of game anyways. Why am I going to pay $30 to play it early? Because it's not even my type of game. So whatever, I'll just look at the reviews. So I started going through all of the reviews, right? Yeah. And there's some guys out there that are going to be biased, and I'm not gonna be messy on here, but when you're biased in this type of industry, if you got an eagle eye, it's pretty easy to see. So, those guys were easy to discern by guys that I know that are unbiased, right? I know they don't care if it's Xbox. They don't give a shit if it's PlayStation. They don't care about Nvidia or AMD. They just care about the damn game, right?
Right.
And they play that type of game, right? Because I can give a review on Avowed, but I think my review is probably going to be a lot different from someone that actually plays these fantasy RPG games.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So you have to go to channels that play everything, and they like that genre, right? So based on everything that I've seen, honestly, I can say objectively that the game looks like it's a solid 7. It looks like it's not a bad game. It has some optimization, it has some little bugs that need to be ironed out that they're not trying to showcase right now. Looks like the game it's nothing bad, it's nothing special, it's just there. And a lot of the consensus between the reviewers is that it's a lot like kind of the Outer Worlds, So, the way it plays in certain aspects of it and the way that it looks. So it looks like it's a solid 7. So I don't think it's a dud. I don't think it's a 10 or a 9.5 for sure, based off of just having a lot of bugs and just looking at it.
I'll back you up on that. And Death Singer, the reason I go to you is by no means do I want this conversation. I know you're looking forward to this game, and I actually think you're going to enjoy it. I know, like D just said, the person who should be reviewing this type of game is somebody like Death Singer. Death Singer's been talking about Avowed now on this channel for about 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah, he loves Obsidian.
Right?
He loves Obsidian.
He knows Obsidian inside and out. But Death Singer, I know that you're not. I know you're keeping an ear to the community. I know you see what's going on. So my question to you, Death Singer, is not talking about your hype for the game, because I know your hype for the game is through the roof. But are you a bit surprised in some of the things that you're reading? Because when me and you've had this discussion for 3 months now on the show, is you said to me, Mooch, what you need to understand is this is Obsidian. And you said this to me a million times, which, by the way, I don't think you're wrong for any of your past comments. But here we are, and the number's sitting at roughly an 80, which I don't think an 80 is a bad grade at all. But there's a lot of people coming out now saying the game is not technically ready to shouldn't have launched.
It's still an 80. I don't think it's still an 80.
I mean, that's like what is, if it's not 80, it's dropped to 79. But it can't be. Say 80 for all practical purposes.
All right, for starters, a lot of performance issues. The driver for Nvidia only came out today, right? It only came out today, the driver. So there's going to be stuff going through it. And of course, it's got bugs, and everyone acknowledges that. Now,
Jesus.
I read some of the mainline. Read some of the mainline reviews, and their main nitpick, which I found rather odd, was it does nothing innovative and brings nothing new. Now, not every game needs to do that. No. And that's why I went to the people I trust on YouTube.
Yes.
Who play nothing but RPGs. That's all they play. They play every single JRPG and Western RPG that comes out. So I went to them and I was like, right, they will tell me what's what. And as they said, it's like, Obsidian made a good game. Who knew? And it's like, well, yeah, because they always make good games. They're not going to make a spectacular game, but they'll make a good game. And they made a good game, it is quintessential Obsidian. Everything you would expect with an Obsidian title. And then they were like, it's not quite as good as like their previous game, Pillars of Eternity, in aspects of like maybe the story and the writing. But the combat, the problem with those games was it's not easy to get into for console players. This game has really easy to get into, and it is a return to form for Western RPGs, but also a really good game released by them. And when I come back to when you said about the previews, the problem is they have to glow them up. Otherwise, you don't get invited back the next time you release a game, right? It's politics. You turn up to these private behind-the-scenes shows, you go back and go, this game is the next GTA 6. Do you believe it? No. But you have to say that. Otherwise, Sony ain't going to be inviting your ass back if you say, oh, this game's shit. They ain't going to send you another invite. So they have to do what they have to do to keep the business working, which I respect. Okay, keep your hustle. But then it's, a lot of the main
They want
reviews,
you to lie?
Yeah.
Wow.
If you want an invite back.
It's not that they want you to lie. It's the way that they coach you, the way that they lead you to that. And the environment is good and the food is good and you were flown out. It's a part of business. So unconsciously there is some bias built in by the reviewer when you're getting flown out. You're not going to want to be as critical on certain things. You might at the same time say certain things, but you're going to kind of water it down a little bit because you want to show some type of gratitude. And there's some guys that don't give a damn and they're like, screw it, it sucks.
Yeah.
And that he's right. Those guys, they don't get invited back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No,
you need to grease the wheels, but I mean, for Avowed, it's a good game. It's what I expected. Can't wait to play it. Everyone should check it out. If you enjoy the series, if you just enjoy Western RPGs, I mean, it is everything that it was supposed to be that I thought it would be. So I couldn't be more happy, Mooch.
No, Death Singer, like I said, nothing in this conversation I knew would derail, and I hope it does not. I know it won't. Your excitement for the game. You've been looking forward to it for a year, if not maybe 3 years now. So that being said, Wise, welcome to the show, Wise Old Gamer, by the way. Wise, I was going to, because before I go to Crap and Jay, because I know that they're going to sound off on this, Wise, what was your take on maybe, let's just say 48 hours ago? And the question at hand was, it seems like a lot of the preview folks that played Avowed, I didn't see a whole lot of bad previews. A lot of people had 2-3 hours with it. And I mean, a lot of folks. This isn't picking on one or two. This is a lot of folks. The previews looked like it was going to be an Obsidian darling. And now it's, there seems to be a lot of technical issues. And I really find it hard to believe that 3 weeks ago or 2 weeks ago or a week ago when people were playing the preview, that it was working unbelievably better than it is now.
It could be a driver issue.
It could very well be a driver issue. And we'll find that out in the next probably week to 10 days, right? Or I don't think they'll fix that quick.
New drivers came out today.
But to be fair, the developer, they did an interview with her and they talked to her, whatever, and they brought up, jank, and
that's right.
She acknowledged. She was like, yeah, it's some jank there and stuff like that. And my thing is, jank is not a good thing. It's not a charming thing. It's not a feature. No. Keep working on that and get the jank out of the games, because you want your game to be in the best light possible. So these people you hand your game to, so these reviewers that you want them to give you glowing reviews. You see what I'm saying? Like, yes. You want them to not focus on that. So if I notice jank in the game and I mention it, that's a knock on your game, and other people are going to say it because that's what people have been talking about all day.
I want to say this though, because I did, I look at all the technical stuff. Some of the issues most of these issues are on the consoles where they're having some issues on PC.
And that's where most the gamers,
Yeah, but it's an Obsidian game, so a lot of PC guys play it too. On PC though, it's running pretty good. In fact, they're saying for an Unreal Engine game, Unreal Engine 5 game, that it's actually running really good, better than most Unreal Engine 5 games. And the ray tracing,
a lot of people play it on PC.
It's pretty good.
They said the PC was the worst version.
If they have a potato, I'm sure it will be.
Well, but then you get into the whole PC discussion, right?
Right,
it's like
right.
Not everybody has the 4090 to 5090.
I think we can't 100%, like, you dock it for not getting a perfect score for sure if it's having some technical issues, but you can't just write the game off on day one, because there's going to be some drivers. There's going to be some updates, right? So
I'm not saying nobody's writing the game off. It got a great score, right? 80 is not a.
I'm not hearing all of these technical issues that are kind of being blown a little out of proportion here. I'm not really hearing that. I'm hearing some different receptions on the game itself. I'm not really seeing people docking it for, like, it not running well.
Okay, well, so how about this, D? How about this? I think that's a worse scenario, because let's say it runs great on PC, right? Let's say it runs great on PC. The issue that they have with the game is not necessarily the performance from PCs, but it's just the game itself. I think that would be worse, wouldn't you think? Because those are things that the developer is going to have to fix outside of just driver updates.
Yeah, I understand.
We can deal with driver updates. We can't deal with a game where they have to,
But hold on a second, guys. I'm looking at the reviews here too, and like I was just going through all of the reviews here. It's still sitting at an 80 for the console.
80,
yes, it is.
79. It's at 79 for PC. So honest to tell you, that's a pretty good score.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Hold on a second, guys. Hold on a second. D, Wise, nobody can hear you because your volume is very low.
You sound like a mouse. Speak up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and clock back in. They just updated something about this duo, so I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna log out and log back in.
Yeah, log out and log back in, because we can't hear. And that's not. I was gonna say, I was letting the audience know beforehand what's happening with Wise's audio. That's not me, because guys, that was all of you hearing him very low, correct? I don't want to.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want you guys to think, because I heard something in the background. And I'm like, and then I see the green flash around him. I said, Wise. I wrote him on X, and I said your volume's very low. So yeah, reset that, Wise, and come back, and we'll test your audio for sure. But let me ask this question here. So this was it. So D, you were saying, and I'm not saying that I like I said, I haven't played it yet, but there was a reviewer out there, and when in regards, I'll ask Crap this. Crap, he said, the reviewer said, this is not the Obsidian I know. Now, I thought of Deathsinger when he said this, because Deathsinger is a big Obsidian fan. He said, this is not the Obsidian I know. But Crap, my question for you isn't about the reviewer's comment. It was more about 343, Turn 10, Arcane Studios. Isn't it? This generation, when you say this is not the Obsidian I know, I would say this isn't the 343 I know, the Turn 10 I know, or the Arcane Studios that we knew.
Facts.
Right? So when I've said this a million times and people go, Mooch, why do you say it? Because sometimes you have to say it a million times till somebody finally goes, oh, I get it now. Ever since Game Pass and the new model that Xbox has gone with, quality has taken a massive hit, even with renowned studios such as Obsidian. And whether it's the budget that's been reduced, the time frame that's been reduced, or the lack of leadership at Xbox to have their finger on the pulse of the game, this is not a typical Obsidian. Obsidian would never put out something. I think Obsidian, as if Deathsinger, has Obsidian ever had an 80 even launch? They've always been knocked out of the ballpark. Turn 10 is...
That's a good question. What's their lowest score ever? That's a good question.
Obsidian's lowest score. I think
This is their lowest score, I think.
No, it's not. They had a shooting game that was in like 76 or whatever. They made this like game for some company because they were independent at the time.
So is this their second lowest score?
This is their second lowest, yeah, because everything else has always been in the low 80s, mid 80s, and high 80s.
Right.
And 90, I guess.
Yeah, let's say this is their lowest.
Like, this is, but I wouldn't, like, the score...
I'm not making it. Listen, wait a minute, Death Singer. Let me rephrase though, because I want the audience to understand this, and I want you guys to understand this. I don't really care about the Metacritic score. I don't care. My point isn't about even the score. It's about the performance issues. Indeed, what you were saying that you said you didn't hear about it. I'm not saying that, and the panel's not saying that. The panel hasn't played it yet. What I'm saying to you is the reviewers that are out there that have these massive channels, they're saying I couldn't even show you this clip, but there was problems and performance issues with the game, and it's a lot of.
But to be fair, a driver,
Mr. Matty plays.
A driver came out today. A driver update came out today.
It did,
and you know what? In all honesty, I feel for some of these reviewers because they play these games and then the game gets like a day one update.
Yeah,
and then all the problems that they were having or discussed in their reviews are like null and void, right? Because now all these problems have been fixed. So
that proves my point, D. I've always said this. Developers should not let anyone lay a thumb or a finger on their game until it's in a fashion where they would feel comfortable with. You see what I'm saying? Because you only get one time for a first impression. All of that fix it later shit is out the door. Like nobody cares about that.
Yeah.
You need to play this game. Have your testers play this game.
It's easy to say, but there's sometimes it's like a build that internally they were testing and everything is fine, and then there's like one little thing that's off in the build, and it just sets like a chain of events. On PC the driver is fine, and then there's
delay
in the damn driver that mess. It happens. It happens sometimes.
Delay until you get the patch. Delay X, Y, and Z. I am not. Listen.
I think personally, the guys that have
$70 when you spend $70 on these games. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, but that doesn't apply. No, that doesn't apply to the consumer because the consumer gets the day one patch. This is the reviewers. But I think the reviewers that have these technical issues, after the day one patch, do an update video to see if some of the problems.
Absolutely, they should do that. That's a good due diligence, I think. But at the same time, let's be honest, right? Crap, you said this all the time. What about Days Gone? Days Gone launched at a 70-something, 72, and it was because it was not ready. After the first patch, it was working great, D. But nobody says that.
Nobody goes back.
Nobody goes back.
Yeah, you're not going to go back and review it later.
I remember when that happened. We were so mad. We were so mad. We were like, this game is fantastic. These guys reviewed the damn buggy version.
Yes.
And now nobody wants to play it. That game is so good. And I hope with this remastering of it that people will actually play this freaking game because it's good. Sorry, I digress.
Wait a minute. So Crap, shout out to Crap. You know Pat Man. Shout out to Pat Man Jones. Pat Man Jones. By the way, Xbox fan extraordinaire. Let me give Pat Man his credit here. He says to me, he goes, "I'm playing while listening now. Not one issue or bug. Series X Mooch." Then he comes back and he goes, "Shout out to Pat Man." By the way, I love Pat. He says, "Even Digital Foundry said the game runs great. This is the first time I'm hearing this, Mooch. I promise you, Pat. I didn't make it up."
I also put some of the performance issues on the fact they're using that trashy ass Unreal Engine 5, which still isn't ready. Because look at all the Unreal Engine 5 games coming out, and most of them have a lot of performance issues. And sure, you got to give people time to get used to the new engine and whatnot. But that didn't help it any. If they made it on Unreal Engine 4, it would have been clean. But unfortunately, they chose to make it on the new engine, which a lot of developers do. And unfortunately, if you look at all the games released on Unreal Engine 5, the vast majority of them are utter dog shit when it comes to performance. And that's just the problem with the engine. So I wouldn't put those problems, performance problems, on Obsidian. I'd put it more on the engine.
Well,
Because the engine
but they
has
chose.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
They
though.
chose what platform they're going to use. So as a gamer, I'm looking at it as a gamer. As a gamer, I don't give a shit what internal stuff you got to do to develop this game. If you're selling me this game at X amount of dollars, I'm going to expect it to run good, to look good, and I don't want to have to go and blame Epic Games. I don't want to have to go and blame other people. You know what I'm saying? Like when you buy a car from a dealership, you expect that car to work flawlessly. You don't want to say, "Hey, I'm sorry, but Chevy, I don't want to hear that. You can't blame, Kia. I bought a Chevy pickup truck. I didn't buy a Kia. Don't blame everybody else."
Based on everything that I've seen, because like I said, I was watching everything. A lot of people didn't have issues. Some had those issues. Some weren't able to talk about the issues. And when they're reviewing the game, they have it for a certain amount of time, right? So they've had this game for quite a while, and they were playing it. So they have a different version. So you can tell different guys had different damn freaking versions because some guys had no problems, some guys had problems. Now, I watched Digital Foundry's video today, and I guess I'm going to assume that they have one of the latest versions because they're not really doing a review on it. They were doing the technical stuff, right? And the ray tracing performance on it, everything was running smooth. They did notice a few dips here and there, but for the most part, it was running pretty smooth. So it's a driver issue because it could work for someone that has a 4070 and then not work for someone that has a 4080. It happens like that sometimes on PC.
Well, then it becomes the issue is masked by brute force. And
but I think
most people don't have those high-end cards.
I think overall it's not really having technical issues, and they got a day one patch. Now on the console side, that's where I did see some stuff. I saw some stuff, with the shadows that wasn't running good. It's like and some dithering and stuff. Yeah. So there is some issues on the console that that need to get ironed out. The Series S version didn't look too particularly good, to be honest.
There was also, and guys, we're sitting here talking about the performance issues, but there was a lot of people out there that said that they also they weren't enthralled by the story, the characters, they didn't rope them in. And those are
that's a different thing.
That's a different thing. So that's the part where you say, wow, that's not the Obsidian. They say not the Obsidian I know. And that's fair for that reviewer to say that. I really do feel for them because much like, and I'm very interested, guys, next week, the week after, I want to give him time to enjoy it. Because honestly, if Singer says to me, dude, I loved it, that was the best Obsidian game in a while, I'll take his word, for it. But I'm really curious what he thinks about the performance part of it. Like you said, drivers, they'll fix it, a patch. I'm really concerned more about, is Obsidian still, when Microsoft takes over these teams, Turn 10 never missed. That's what me and Crap used to say all the time on MNC. They never missed. Never. Crap, you used to say there's a couple things, right? Death, taxes, and Turn 10, putting out a top-notch game.
Every other year, they would release... Yeah, every other year they would release Forza Motorsport, and it would be, fantastic,
top
right?
tier,
amazing,
everything,
amazing.
And then they had 6 years with this latest one, and it's just funny to me that it was missing a bunch of content and just wasn't up to par with what they had. And then you can find out also a lot of this stuff because Mooch, I heard you mention something about budget or whatever. I don't know if that's the issue because if you look at, I liked Outer Worlds, right? I didn't think I would. I loved it. That's a lower budget game, but they did a really good job on it.
That's right. Maybe it's not budget.
I think some of it could have to do with who they're
who's
hiring.
leading it at the time. Yeah,
who's leading it.
Don't forget, Microsoft has a they only keep people on for 18 months.
Yeah, they do a lot of contract. They do a lot of contract work and stuff. But for me, anyway, with a game like that, It's like I remember when people were like, the reason why Bethesda doesn't change their engine is because then it wouldn't feel like a Bethesda game. People like the jank or whatever. I don't know if I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't want to play a game and then have to go back because it froze up or whatever. I don't know about this game. Maybe it'll do well, maybe it won't. I doubt that it's going to like set the world on fire or anything, but
Right.
I'm not wishing it to do bad. I mean, 80 is a pretty good
good
score these days, it is. And it's like, listen, they finally found some footing there with some releases, and I'm glad for that. And I'll give them some praise for this. The delay wasn't for nothing, right? Because it was only going to be a 30-frame game, and now they've given multiple options to 40 frames, which is something that fans have been asking for Xbox Studios for a long time. Like, if you have a good TV, which most of us that have a Series X would, right, or VRR and that stuff, 40 frames is a game changer, right? It's great.
Yeah.
And then also have the 60 option or whatever. I think that's really cool. Sony started doing that early on in the generation, and a lot of Xbox fans, myself included, were like, well, why don't we have that option? It doesn't make sense. And now, obviously they add that option in, and I think that's really cool that they were able to kind of do that in the delay or whatever. So we'll see how it goes. I'll check it out. The old Game Pass try, Mooch.
Yeah.
Right. Why not go ahead and try it? Its own Game Pass, right? So.
Well, why not? It's free.
Yeah.
It's free, right, Crap?
It's free.
Yeah, it's free.
Yeah,
Mooch.
it's a free rental.
It's free, guys. Yes.
In answer to your question, you see, normally people have rotating doors, but Obsidian are really good at holding on to who they have. Like all their talent, like all the head of the studio has been there since it was started, and a lot of the lead writers have. Like a lot of their talent is a lot old. It's like when I look at Avowed, right? The game director who did it, right? 12 years being at Obsidian. Did Pillars of Eternity 1, Pillars of Eternity 2, The Outer Worlds, published multiple novels, right? That's your game director. Then you have another 12-year-old Obsidian vet doing all these games, lead writer for all those games. And then you have the narrative designer who came from BioWare years ago, but he came from BioWare when they were good. So he did Mass Effect 1 to 3 and Dragon Age Origins. This was when BioWare was still good. So they have a lot of older people doing their writing because they've held on to them for years. Obsidian doesn't let talent like that go. So, of course, I'm expecting the story and everything to be exactly what it should be because
as you should.
That is an excellent team for writing your story.
That's right.
Now, stories hit independently. It's like someone might like Horizon Zero Dawn. I personally didn't care for the story. Someone else might have loved the story. Same would go for this game. You either like it or you don't like it, and that's just people.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's it. I think a game can be loved for, let's just say, three things, right? You love the gameplay and the story, or three different reasons. Pardon me. The gameplay and the story. Sometimes people just like the story. Some people just like the gameplay. The three different scenarios that I hear a lot of times in reviews, and I think all of them hold water as far as I'm concerned. Like, I'll give you an example, like Black Myth Wukong, right? Like, the story in that's not really captivating for me, but the gameplay is addictive. So that's just giving you as a quick example. And some of you might
like Doom, right?
That's what I've seen from the.
Go ahead, Crap, and then D. Go ahead.
I'll say kind of like Doom games, right? The story is nonsense, and then
Well, Borderlands, listen, you guys, I tweeted it out yesterday. I've been talking about it on the show forever. I mean, the fact that this is the year I get to play Borderlands 4, and I know a lot of you guys in the chat and in the comments later will say, who gives a shit about Borderlands? I love Borderlands. But let's be honest. Well, thank you, Crap knows that. I really do love Borderlands. But listen, you're not wrong. Borderlands doesn't necessarily have, like, Borderlands 2 had I thought it was a great story, great writing. I thought 3 took a major dip. Right? And they kind of revived themselves with Tiny Tina. But this has got to really impress me. I want the writing to come back to what we loved about Borderlands 2. But let's be honest, if they let me down again on the writing, I still can't wait to play that game. It's the gameplay. It's the nonstop drop loot that you keep getting and wanting and you're addicted to. That's what I love about it. So like I said, it doesn't always have to be story. It doesn't always have to be the gameplay. Sometimes the story wraps people up into a good review or gives them that the good vibes to put the word out there for this game is great. D, go ahead. I wanted to let you get a chance to say something. Then I was going to go to the super chats.
I was going to say that the negative points to the game that I've seen, like, mixed from gamers, it doesn't seem to be centered around the gameplay itself. Everyone seems to think that the game is fun, but some people, they're hung up on the story or maybe some of the characters. But to play the game, apparently it's fun.
That's the thing. And that's, listen, I'm excited to dive into it tonight. I'm definitely going to give it a shot. Shout out to the super chats. Guys, the super chat's working. It's a miracle. I really appreciate it. Shout out to Ocelot. He says, hit that like button. Guys, please do that. I don't say it enough. Crap used to yell at me years ago. I still didn't listen. That's my fault. He says, Mooch, you got to tell people a couple times during the show, hit that like button. Guys, we got 417 people here. Come on. Let's get to 100 likes here. I appreciate that. These guys are doing an outstanding job. Great to have everybody here as we're going to welcome Wise Old Gamer back in here. And Wise, we'll be right with you in a second to test your mic. But Glassdoor Gamer says Xbox can technically be classified as PlayStation's second party with how much revenue they get from PlayStation users. 2025 is wild. Now, Glassdoor, we'll get to that in a second as we change subjects, but I do want to finish up and let Wise talk a little bit on Avowed first. Satya, the whole slate Nadella is here. He says, let me get an Eagles cheer from Mooch. Let me tell you something, guys. Probably the only thing I loved about the Super Bowl, realistically, was the food. Okay? I loved the food. I didn't really care for the game very much. Of course, I'm a little bitter. The Giants weren't there. And, of course, listen, I'm a big Saquon Barkley fan, huge fan. And I'm glad he got a ring. But I'll be honest with you, it stings. You know what I mean? So you can't. Listen, I just had pizza, I had wings. Some good food. That's what it's all about. Shout out to Satya there. Moonshot says, how is it Avowed was announced in 2020 and these are the results? Seems like a common trend with most Xbox first party this whole gen. Game Pass problem. We did talk about that, Moonshot. I apologize I didn't read that earlier, but I do really feel
rebooted like once or twice supposedly. So
there's that too, crap.
Avowed? Yeah. Also, too, I want to just say,
go ahead,
if
dude.
it stays at the 80 that it's at right now, that's not a bad score.
No,
good score.
No, absolutely. Dude, you're not going to hear me ever tell you an 80's a bad score.
Well, let me say
Here's the
Go ahead, Wise. You're still low, but I want
to. Somebody's talking like they're across the road. Hello.
Josh, okay, I'm gonna
Hello.
What low? Is it still low?
Hello.
It's really
sound like you have the wrong mic on.
But you either have the
wrong mic or something. Yeah.
It's either the wrong mic
crap.
or go into your settings and just change it to the proper mic or the volume is low. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. Crap. You guys remember when they first showed the teaser trailer, the original trailer for Avowed? We was all shocked, like, oh my God, this shit is gonna look amazing. And then they finally showed some gameplay trailer, and it's like, it had the cartoony Sea of Thieves type graphic, and it's like, that's not what you initially. And I know it was rebooted or changed, and it's like, that really let a lot of the wind out of the sails for me, and I'm going.
The game looks good. It doesn't look bad. The game looks good.
Yeah, but originally it was like they were gonna do different stuff, right? They changed the scope of the game a couple times. Like it was gonna be open world. It was gonna be their take on Skyrim.
Yeah,
and then they ended up changing things around. And like I said, I haven't played it yet. I will play it, but they changed it into being its own thing. So I think that's something that they kind of wanted to do. They didn't want to get stuck with, play this for our version of Skyrim. I mean, could you imagine having to do that? I wouldn't want to do that, So, it is what it is. Maybe I'm sure it's probably a fine game. Is it the game that, is going to change things over? I don't think so. But I think that if Microsoft had been smart and handled things differently, this would be, they have a nice string of well-received games. Right? Like that could help them out. I don't care how many times Phil Spencer gets up there and says we're losers. If you have enough content there, just like the PS3, I can remember people were adamantly against the PS3 back in the day, man. But then by the end of the generation, everybody had to have one too. You know what I mean? It was like you had to play you had to play Uncharted 2. You had to play God of War 3. You know, it was like you had to play these games and experience these games. And so people started giving in. You know, I mean, Sony did they lowered the price. They came out with exclusive after exclusive, and that's how you kind of fixed the situation. I mean, could you imagine if Nintendo did what Microsoft did because the Wii U stunk up the joint, and the Wii U stunk up the joint way worse than anything Xbox is doing, right?
Yeah.
13 million units, right? Imagine Nintendo goes, well, that's it for us. We're done. We're going to start putting our games on PlayStation
That's it.
and Xbox, right? That's it. We're done. No. What did they do? They tweaked things. They went back and, you know, they went back in the shop, and now they've got a console that's probably going to break the all-time record, and then the Switch 2 is going to obviously light shit on fire. I mean, that's going to be huge. Yeah. Let's just be real. It's going to be massive.
Did you see
you know
the
what I
price
mean?
leak?
What was it, 400 or something?
350.
That'd be insane. I still think they'll probably do one. It'll probably be $399.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's not going to be no 350.
I think it'll probably. But again, that's fine. And you know, again, it's
so,
like
but-
the only people that are out there saying that consoles are dead or that things are changing is Microsoft and Phil Spencer, right? Because when you look at it, and I swear, you always have, and you know who I'm talking about, J-Dub, that game trailers dude, and some of these other dudes, they're like Sony's gonna put their games on Xbox. Sony's gonna put their games on Xbox. I'm like, dude, they don't even put their fucking Ape Escape guy on Xbox in in that Metal Gear game, right? And you think they're going to put their games on Xbox? Like, get out of here.
They did a Lego game and they kept it off of Xbox. They gave it to Nintendo before they
petty
did
as hell, man.
That's crazy.
They're like, you know, Microsoft
Sony
is on
still
fire.
views Xbox as competition until they're no longer there, and they're not giving them
They want
anything.
Xbox dead.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
And guess what? If Phil went to court, Phil was fighting in court, saying this exact same thing. Sony's taking 30% to put us out of business. Meanwhile, they had PS5 and PS5 Pro dev kits making games to do exactly that. That's why I say, he's a fraud.
So shout out to X-Hawk. He says state of trash. We're going to get to that in a second. Shout out to X-Hawk, still fighting the good fight. Wise, your volume's still very low. We can all be
It's still very low.
It is. It's got to be something. It's got to be something on your PC end.
Yeah, I'm gonna reset my entire PC.
All right. We'll get Wise back and we'll come back to it. So shout out to X-Hawk out there fighting the good fight. Shout out to Ben for subscribing to the channel. Please do hit that subscribe. Face23 Face, thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. He says, D, here's a question for you, a little tech question. He says, when do you think Sony will implement ray reconstruction into PSSR?
I don't know if they have the compute to do it.
Don't need to.
So I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure some developer will try it. So I don't know. I don't know if they can do it.
We'll
It's
see.
not something that I would really be looking for. Like, I think they will clean up some of those rays, like, you know, in different software ways. I don't know if it'll be the so-called reconstruction type of way. So it's not a question I can answer, man. That's something you'd have to ask one of those Sony engineers, because
Mark Cerny.
I'm not. He did say that he would like to see a developer do that. He didn't completely rule it out, but it's not something
I challenge.
It's not something I feel comfortable saying. Yeah, they can do this. I don't know.
Well, D, that's all right. You shouldn't have been on the hot seat for that. Face, I do appreciate the question. Archwar Angel says 2025 gamers are eating good. It's coming, he says. Yes, absolutely, Archwar Angel. Shout out to Archwar. Ocelot's back. He says Outer Worlds was digital narcolepsy. I totally agree. And Avowed isn't looking like my bag either. Let me know, Mooch, how many
definitely
sheep.
don't agree.
He says, let me know how many sheep jump over. No, listen, Detsinger, we've talked about this. I've said this on air for years now. Crap remembers it too. Outer Worlds put me into a coma. It was.
I don't know how.
I'm not. Listen, I'm not. Well, you know, Detsinger, very simply. Way too many narrative options that went nowhere with a blank stare on the faces of a lot of the characters, and it was too much. I'm sitting there, I'm like, next.
See,
next,
for
next.
me, and I guess this is my bias, right? But for me, most of these RPG games, like, I just can't get into them because they're just so damn slow paced.
It's so slow.
I don't want to sit there and go through a damn cogwheel of options,
right?
What to say and all, like, so I just tend not to like those games. But at the same time, I'm not gonna like diss guys that love those type of games.
No,
because,
not at
you know,
all.
I freaking like WWE 2K, and I know a lot of guys hate that game, right? So
That's not a game that I would pick up. Yeah, no. Listen, I'm excited to play
I
PGA.
opened the-
That's singer. I'm going to pick up PGA 2K25. I know for damn sure that's probably not your bag.
That is digital NyQuil. Right there.
See, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It'll put you into a coma. Shout out to the great Wooly Gamer, everybody. Wooly, we miss you out here in the gaming streets, buddy. Great. He says, now here's another one. Death Singer, don't feel like it's just you. Wooly, you know that there's certain games that you love that I can't get my mind wrapped around. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, he says, is a 10 out of 10. First-party devs need to catch up, in my opinion. By the way, again, I will pay the same tribute. That game looks polished. That looks great. Everyone's loving it. I can't believe the amount of people watching it on Twitch. But my God, that is like it's the video game version of War and Peace. Mm-hmm. I don't want anything to do with it.
Mooch, I have to give it. Thing is,
go ahead, Singer.
People forget about the first Kingdom Come Deliverance, right?
Right.
It was buggy.
People still loved it, though, didn't they? Did they love it?
A lot of issues. I loved it.
Right.
But it's what people can't get past is the immersive sim aspect of it.
Okay.
Like you live out the life in the game, right? So if you're a blacksmith, you go to a blacksmith forge. You do everything like you're living a life in another world, which is great for immersion. But people who are like, oh, I just want to go around and hack and slash, it's not for them.
Absolutely.
So I prefer to get submerged into a world and slowly give me the story. Let me get in. Let me meet the characters. I'm like, oh, this guy's a douchebag. This guy's cool. I like him. And it's get involved in it. So I understand that. But Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is their Witcher 3. Warhorse's Witcher 3. Because if I said, do you know who Warhorse Studios is? Anyone know?
Warhorse Studios? They're the ones that make Kingdom Come Deliverance. They made Kingdom Come.
Like no one knows who they are, but now everyone knows who they are. So hey, great on them. Warhorse is a great studio.
I'll look up his name in a second. Shout out to Rick. I'll call him Rick for right now. I'll get his last name. We follow each other. But Rick, who was a community manager for Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, was on Crossfire. We had him on the show before it came out. And shout out to Rick. He's big time in the community. I think he still does certain things in the gaming world. He doesn't tweet as much as he used to back in the day. But shout out to him and then all the hard work he put in. Willie Gamer comes back with a super chat and he says, Avowed gives major Dragon Age Veilguard vibes. The voice acting and character design is something awful. What happened? First trailer looked insane. So, that's going to be something that I'm waiting, Death Singer, not only for me to experience. Crapsy's going to check it out. Jay's going to check it out. D, are you going to check out Avowed before we move on to our next subject?
I already have it downloaded, man, so I'm just waiting for it to unlock.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm excited to see what everyone says in about a week or so. I'm thinking about, guys, in the audience, let me know if this is something that interests you. I'm thinking about doing like a roundtable next Friday night. 1 hour, real quick, review. We'll call it a review, but it'll be a roundtable discussion on Avowed, and we'll get some of these folks that are on the panel tonight, see if they can make it, and a few others that maybe got a little further. I'm going to play as much as I can in a week, but nonetheless, I thought that would be a fun way to kind of do a review as in a 1 hour discussion roundtable. We'll see how that goes. Let me know if that's something that interests you. Maybe I'll do a poll also throughout the week. I do want to switch over and get into, of course, the state of play. Okay, real quick. So we've got state of play. Actually, before we do that, let me just see if Wise, can we get a microphone check? Because I know you have an Avowed comment before we move on.
Yeah, is it better?
It's a little better.
No.
It's not great.
No, it's terrible. It's even worse.
It's not worse, Crap.
Go
ahead. Wise, go ahead. Crap's got bat ears. He used to be our audio engineer back in the day.
I don't know what's going on. I think I need a new duo or something. I think this.
Well, don't you have a headset that you use as well sometimes?
Yeah, I do have this headset.
Yeah, it sounds like some cables not plugged in all the way or something.
Yeah,
it sounds like he's got a mic through like something else, like his computer or something.
Yeah, like it's another mic picking him up.
When I have a camera hooked up, my camera mic, or if you have an Elgato or something, sometimes those things will pick up stuff through there. I don't know. Just
because it doesn't.
You sound like shit, bud.
Well, he is.
I normally sound like shit. That's not the point.
What?
Hey, don't feel bad, Wise. Crap did the same thing to me before I got a real microphone back in the day. Mooch, get yourself a real microphone. You do have a real microphone, so I don't know. It's odd that it's shot because you don't sound like you're mixed or mumbled. It's just you sound far away, which means it does sound like you're speaking into the wrong device.
I don't know what's going on because I mean I got everything set up.
There you go. Maybe pull the mic closer to you.
Okay, maybe is this better?
It's certainly better.
Yeah, it's getting better.
It's getting better. So let me turn up the. Oh, shoot, the game. Oh fuck, that hurt. Hold on.
We're getting guys. This is the behind the scenes of a podcast. Everyone's like, maybe I'll podcast. This is part of the dilemma, guys. All right, and I don't put that on Wise. It happens to all of us.
Fucking engineer. Yeah,
Happens to all of us, Wise.
Yeah, I hate this fucking thing. I'm not even any good at it. So
You sounding louder. Go ahead. You just hold the microphone as close as you can to your mouth and speak into it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to change. Maybe I need to change out my XLR cables because these XLRs are probably pretty.
You sound a little bit better now.
I'm boosting you to maximum right now on Discord, which means somebody in the comment section later on will be like, "Why the hell is Wise so loud?" But go ahead, Wise.
Okay, so what I was saying is, the jank. Let me say this. If you've ever played an Obsidian game, first of all, Obsidian has never made a AAA banger, okay? I mean, you could say New Vegas was, but it was never received at that when it was first released. It was a good game. It came out in, I think, mid-'80s. I don't know the exact score of New Vegas it was when it first released, but it was something like that. So Obsidian has always made those 80 games, 80, 70, low, mid-70, high, mid-80 type games. So they make good games. Do they make these sprawling open worlds that Bethesda does? No, they don't. Now, there is a certain characteristic of jank in an Obsidian game, especially these types of games. If you look at New Vegas, they have it. You look at Outer Worlds, they have it. You can see it in the Outer Worlds too. And of course, it's prevalent in Avowed as well. But that is the same jank that sort of Bethesda games have. So it's like almost like a Bethesda charm. You expect when you like the next Elder Scroll, right? When the next Elder Scroll comes out and I get off the horse and the horse doesn't launch off into the air, or if I shoot somebody and it doesn't launch off in the air with a bug, then I will be disappointed because it's not a Bethesda game.
That's whack. Come on.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Oh my God.
Well, wait a minute. That's like saying
you should not. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. To say that jank is part of the lore of a game is just ridiculous.
Well, that's the charm of the game.
That's what they say about Bethesda games.
Because
they say that about Bethesda games.
Hey, if they put an Easter egg in there, one Easter egg where that happens one time, we can get a chuckle and say, there's that old, that old Bethesda charm. Fine, I'll accept that. But for it to be throughout the game or any game, that should not be expected. You should want your games to perform at its absolute best.
I never understood that. And listen, let me just say this real quick. I know where you're coming from, Wise, because I've heard a lot of people say that about the Bethesda games, like Jay was just saying. But the thing about it, that's like saying, Mooch, you got to try this pizza place. It's unbelievable. And I go, wait a minute, but Wise, the whole bottom's burned. Like, that's the charm.
What? Like that. Okay, no. Okay, you're saying that. I don't like Five Guys burgers. I don't think they're good burgers at all. Okay, but my kids love the Five Guys burgers because of how greasy it is and how I don't know what the stuff that comes out of it is disgusting to me. So I don't like it, but my kids love it, and they say that's the charm. When we go get a burger from say a steakhouse burger, they don't like that burger, even though that burger is like 3 times as much money because it doesn't have the characteristic of a Five Guys burger. Does that make sense? So that's what
game breaking bugs are now charms. Hey, how charming!
It's very charming.
I mean,
yes,
I'm not defending it. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not defending it, but I'm saying is you sort of get used to it. Okay, you get used to the charm.
Xbox fans have definitely got used to some charming games then. Man, hey, Crackdown 3, guys, it wasn't bad. It was charming.
It was charming.
Hey, guys, Redfall, that wasn't a horrible piece of shit game.
I'm playing the crap out of it.
Redfall was just charming, you guys. Come on.
It's okay.
Charming.
It's a stuttery game, and I'm used to stuttering games. In fact, if it wasn't a stuttery game, I would be kind of questioning what type of game it is. Okay, let's put it that way. I am used.
Not like this. I am not like this.
Wise. Wise, you got
not like this.
You got to hang out with us more often, Wise.
I like the charm. Okay, my favorite burger joint in Montgomery is called Chris's Hamburgers.
Okay.
They have the most repulsive environment when you go in there. They have never gotten higher than an 86 score from the food, from the food people, from the food critics.
Okay.
But there's just something about that burger. Now, half the people that take that to when they come from out of town, when they come here and eat that burger, they do not like it. the other half when they eat it, they're like, oh yeah, this reminds me of this, but I like it because, and it's a filthy place. No, they're not making like concessions for the filthy place, but the burger is good, so they're like willing to deal with it because it's its own charm. Because if it didn't have that filthy thing, it would be Chris's hot dogs, or it wouldn't be Chris's burger.
Right, would also be it'd probably also be rated 95. But it
would probably be
right. So,
I like watching roaches while I eat my hamburger.
Oh,
you guys. Shout out to Wise. All right, guys, I'm going to switch over to the state of play because I do think it's a big deal. There's a lot to talk about it besides the games. I have the list of games here, guys. I'm going to be very, very short with it. There was a Sonic racing game, of course, Digimon Story, Lost Soul Aside, big one, Like a Dragon, Splitgate 2, the alpha starting soon. I mentioned WW2K The Island because I saw a lot of people talking about it, and I know D's a fan. I think Crap's a fan as well. Borderlands 4, you guys know. Split Fiction, Joseph Fares' new game coming out, I think March 6th time frame. Directive 8020. I'm not going to read them all. Like I said, Darwin's Paradox, the Onimusha game, the PS2 version that's being redone, and also the new one, Way of the Sword, Metal Gear Solid, Hell Is Us, Lies of P, Overture. I know that's a huge fan favorite. Days Gone Remastered, which we're going to talk about. Stellar Blades getting DLC. Tides of Annihilation, which is really my... how do you want to say, not diamond in the rough, but that's the one that is legitimately the one that caught me by surprise. Of course, Saros, House Marquee. You guys know I have roughly around 120 hours put into Returnal. I got the platinum, and I never could put that controller down. So whatever they're going to do with the next iteration in the Returnal world with Saros, and I love the voice actor that they got, and it's just that's fantastic. But I'm kind of turning into a House Mark fan. Nonetheless. What did you guys think of the show? Jay, let me start with you because I think we'll start at peak and then see what some of the others think. Jay, what did you think, and what do you think of the criticisms of it was just a third party show? There wasn't enough from first party there.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna tell you, it met my expectations as far as what I wanted, and I'll tell you what I wanted. I wanted new IP. I wanted obviously single player stuff. We got a single player game we didn't know about from Housemarque. We had PS5 Pro games. They showed games captured on PS5 Pro. So obviously, that's like, oh shit, here we go. We're getting the old PS4 stuff out of the way. We're focusing on,
Yes.
It's 2025. It's time to get smoking, and it seems like that's exactly what they're going to do. Some great graphically demanding games. They're still focusing on PSVR 2. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, PSVR 2 dead" or whatever, but there's games releasing every single week on PSVR 2. Just for whatever reason, people just decide not to, for whatever reason, not care. But that's always the case. But the scope and the amount of games that they showed, they kept it sweet. There was really no fluff. Yeah, they, obviously they got to deal with Monster Hunter Wilds and WWE and stuff, so they had to show that stuff. But once they got that stuff out the way, they started focusing on these, the new games that we didn't know or expect that was coming. We finally got dates, and that was the number one thing too. We finally got dates. Not just, hey, it's coming out here. No, it's fucking dates to these games. That way I can go ahead and pre-order, buy whatever, and we know what we're cooking with and what we're looking forward to. So I'm that was my requirement of what I wanted to see. It met that requirement. So it did. Once it did that, it gave me a 10 out of 10. But man, I was shocked about Saros. I was shocked about Mind's Eye, Metal Eden. Obviously, Tides of Annihilation. I think everybody went crazy for that game as well. But they even had some surprises out there, like Dreams of Another. That looked really good. And my kids, they love FNAF, Five Nights at Freddy's, and so that game is coming out. We're definitely there day one. A great streaming game, Mooch, if you guys stream it. I'm not sure if you guys know who Corey Kenshin is, but my kids watch him, and he plays those type of games, and they love it, the jump scare games.
Yep.
The Midnight Walk, that's a day one game for me. I can't wait, man. So it showed me a large variety of games. It showed me release dates, and it took care of my PS5 Pro, my PS VR 2, you know what I'm saying, itch. And so I'm like, with all these games that they showed, and they were highly graphically demanded. Lost Soul aside, that's coming in a couple of months, right? Looked amazing with all of these
May
games
30th.
that they showed.
May
I
30th,
didn't
Jay.
expect you May the 30th. I just didn't expect a lot. Directive 8020 as well. That's a the supermassive game for
Mhm.
those of you guys that like supermassive games. But I didn't expect people to have some of the reception that it is. Obviously, I know. Obviously the Xbox guys, they were going to do what they do, right? They were, I expect that. Even the PC guys, right? But there was some PlayStation guys that were like,
lot.
oh man,
Yeah, there was a lot of them.
I expect X, Y, and Z. And what it is before we have every show, all the rumors kick up. And then everybody put together their wish list. And when they don't see the wish list, then it's like, oh man,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
And it's like, nobody expected Ghost of Yotai to show up, a month and a half, 2 months ago. That showed up at the Game Awards. Nobody knew Intergalactic, right? Because, hey,
No, I think
out
you
of the
know what it
blue.
was, Jay.
So-
Intergalactic was at the Game Awards, and Yotai was at the last State of Play, I believe.
Okay, yeah. So I got it twisted around. But still, those are games that Sony just drop out of the blue that nobody knew existed.
Mhm.
And so there is this, it feels like there's just this urge. It's like, I don't care about all those games that they showed. I only care about whatever is AAA, Sony, first party studio, no other games outside of that exist. And here's the thing. I get it. To each opinion. I only gave you guys my opinion of what I expected. And everyone is going to be different. So my opinion does not, I don't hold everybody else to that. But it's like, what about all these games that they showed? Are you guys not going to buy any of that? Are you not interested in any of that? Because if that's the case,
No.
this is why we don't get sequels to games. This is why we don't, these studios close down and they go through all of this stuff. Because, guys, we have to buy and support these games.
Outside,
me-
and D, I'll give you the mic. Let me ask you. I'll ask you a question, and then I want to get your take on it. A lot of people forget that now the Xbox Developer Direct, which a lot of those games were coming to PlayStation anyway. But anyways, let's just say those are Xbox first studio games that are what they're working on. But when Xbox did their showcase, a large portion of that showcase was third party. And that's why when I see these again, maybe
and I gave it a 10 out of 10. Mooch. I gave that a 10 out of 10.
Right. I thought the Xbox shows were very good. That's what I'm saying. So we sit here and go, I thought Xbox show was hit after hit. It was game after game. There was no pausing. The timing was good. The pacing was good. Then PlayStation does that same thing with third party, dabbles in a sprinkle of first party, and people are like, what's this all about? It's not a showcase. It's clearly not a showcase. It is a state of play. It's like when Xbox does, the Xbox calls it a showcase, but they have a lot of third party in there, which by the way, people keep forgetting. We have short-term memory, D. D, remember the E3 days? It wasn't that long ago. The E3 days when Microsoft and Sony both got on, Wise, by the way, whatever you have your thing on is like a high
feedback,
frequency.
yeah.
You're probably, it's probably deafening a few of the people in the audience. D, but it's like, that's okay, buddy. But the a lot of the stage presence at the Xbox and PlayStation was third party.
Yes. And let's be honest, third parties is what we mostly play on these machines.
Right.
Now,
It's
I'll
what
say
feeds it,
this. The Xbox showcase was at a high regard, and it was like a turning point, and they showed a lot of bangers.
They did.
And I think a lot of people expected the same type of energy from the state of play, and it didn't deliver. And I know I don't share the same sentiment as Jay. I thought Jay was like trolling before, but he really was impressed with the show. And for me, the show was just mid. It was okay. I'm not going to say the show was terrible because it wasn't. There were some things that I saw there. The Saros game, I thought that looked very interesting. Mind's Eye, I thought looked really good. That was pretty good. The Days Gone, obviously. The Lies of P was okay, but like I wasn't really that into the original game.
Okay.
Onimusha, I forget how you say it.
Onimusha, yeah.
Onimusha.
2. It was okay, sure. Directive 80-20-20 was okay.
Yeah.
The island. I was looking forward to the information on the island. I'm a big WWE 2K guy, and when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, this is going to be like loaded with microtransactions. So that kind of bummed me out a little bit. What else did I see that excited me? There was one game that was also in VR. They had like some weird type of animation monster things, and it was
That's,
revealed to be a VR game. That one
Midnight
surprised
Walk.
me. I was like, I was like, oh
Walk.
crap, this is gonna be a VR. Oh, that's cool, right?
Yeah.
But there was nothing that really stood out. It was just a mid show for me, and I understand where some of the Sony guys are like, oh, we wanted something big, something huge, Metal Gear Solid, it's gonna be on everything. You know what I'm saying? Days Liza P, it's
Can
on
I ask,
everything,
D,
right?
D, can I ask you a question? Because I want to get an impartial stance on this. I'm wondering what your take is. Did you not find it a bit of a head scratcher that Borderlands 4 is going to get its own state of play? Does that make anybody think anything about maybe what is Sony cooking something with Gearbox, or no, not at all? Why would they get their own state of play?
I don't know. Are they going to do it
Well,
VR? I don't know.
Good guess. Good guess, D.
Their first party games and their partner games, they're going to do state of plays for them. They want to give them their own time to shine. And that's why I go back to that. Sony's still trying to figure the whole event thing out, whether they do the state of plays, or they're trying to figure it out. And so
they just want to be the place where you think Borderlands, you think PlayStation.
Exactly.
That's all it is.
That's fair, crap. That's fair.
Like back in the day, Mooch, when you thought Destiny, you thought PlayStation, right? Like that's just all they're doing. They're doing the same things that they do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like,
yep.
That's what they do pretty successfully, right? Like a lot of times the people will see those, and Sony goes out of their way because they are petty, right? Yep. So if you look at it, even the stuff that Microsoft announced at their showcase, they'll show a PlayStation 5 logo in the stuff on their own show, on their own first-party games.
Yeah.
Sony will take those and edit out the Xbox logo on their channel, right?
Yeah, it'll make you think it's exclusive. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, crap. Don't forget though, crap. The one thing I will point out though is Xbox did the same thing until they decided to go third party.
Oh yeah, I mean they waved Phil's up there waving the white flag. Man.
Right. It's different. It's different now. Right?
Phil's last stand.
And Mooch, and that's another thing, right? You got to think about it. The console war is over. Because the console war is over, Sony don't really feel the need to have to go out and just open their war chest and throw everything at the table. They can take their time, let it cook, come out with their shows and show you whenever they want to. And I know as a gamer, you might feel some type of way for that, but we have to be honest with that. That's kind of what it is. Like so if Microsoft was competing right now and they were slamming everything and you don't think Sony would have came out and been like, and because they would have been forced to do it. But now they don't have to do it.
It's also the first show of the year. Like, come on. Like, they're going to have some more shows.
More. Yeah.
They're going to show us more stuff throughout the year.
Go ahead, Wise.
He's talking.
Go ahead, Wise.
Sorry, I didn't hear him.
That's all right.
You can only...
we can't hear him.
Go ahead. Say it now, Wise.
Can you hear me?
Well, go ahead. I have to adjust 3 things on my mixer, but I can get you to go.
I'm going to say this and I'm going to drop out.
That's all right, buddy.
See what I can do. Yeah. But what you guys have to understand is back in the day with E3 when we were watching it, you had 2-3 console players who were playing the war. Okay, they were, you watched Nintendo to see what games can only come on Nintendo. You were watching PlayStation to see what games were only coming on PlayStation. You were watching Xbox for the same thing. Now that Xbox is sort of bowed out gracefully, if you will, they're like, okay, well, what does it even mean to be first party and third party? We know all Nintendo games are only going to be coming to Nintendo consoles. PlayStation games are going to be coming to a PlayStation console initially and eventually may come to PC down the line 2 years, 3 years, who knows, whatever that is. And then you got Xbox that are coming day and day to everything or whatever, right? So, so when you are looking at these state of plays and these developer directs, you should now look at it as, hey, these are games that are coming, period, that you can play irrespective of console, because there is no console war. In order to have a war, you have to have people battling. Yep. You don't have anybody battling here. There's no fights. What war?
Only online though. There's plenty still there.
We want to do it, but that's
absolutely.
So that's the problem. That's why it looks so deflating. You're like, okay, you're expecting that E3 showcase, and you're not getting it because you're not getting anything that is like only specific to your brand anymore.
Yeah,
and that is sort of and say what you will.
Those days over.
But just say what you will. That fact just does take a point or so away from the showcase in general, because it's like, okay, yeah, I know I can play this whenever I want and wherever I want. Okay, I guess I'll get to it when I get to it. We all have big ass back catalogs, and we're just looking at more games to go into a back catalog again. And so, like, I liked Tides of Annihilation. That looked good. That looked a game like right up my alley.
Right.
I'm never gonna get to that fucking game.
Well, I got news for you. Well, that's your sales pitch right there for I'll never get to that game. That's my exact sales pitch for not having Game Pass. Because there's 200 games in there. I have a list of games that were shown here. We have a list of games that were shown at the last Xbox showcase, right? Tons of these games coming out, third party, first party, however you want to list them. And I'm supposed to get excited about the 350 games that came out 5 years ago that are in Game Pass. I can't keep up with what's coming out. I can't keep up. Yeah. People just get enthralled by looking at that big number because when you click on Game Pass, it'll be like, you have 300 games you can download. It's like, great. However, like you just said, I've got 15 coming out in the next 4 months I got to try and play. You know, and each of these aren't 15-hour games. You can ask Death Singer. I got news for you guys. There's no way. Avowed, I think to really get a good feel for Avowed, Death Singer, what do you think? I don't even want to put words. What do you think? That's at least got to be 40 hours to get a good feel for it. Am I wrong?
30 maybe.
30?
Right. Hang on, Mooch. I'll encapsulate the entire thing between you and Wiseall Gamer with this.
Sure.
Right. I'm a man, I like different. I'm a gamer who likes very different things, right?
Yes.
February is hell on earth, right? Because I want to play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
That's
I
right.
want to play Civ 7. I want to play Avowed. I want to play Monster Hunter Wild.
Yeah.
Right? I want to play Yakuza. Right? Each of those games is easily 50 hours, if not more, right? So in 1 month, 5 games, 50 hours, I'm completely fucked. So it's just one of those things where you have to pick and choose. And so, get like Monster Hunters will go in the backlog. I mean, I don't know. And there it is. Like,
well, no, I'm glad you said that. Shout out to Reggie Skull. No, actually, made a great point there, Singer. Reggie Skull says, let's ask Apple which they make more on, their first-party titles or their storefront. I think, Reggie, the better question to ask, though, is, okay, Apple, and this is the concept with consoles. Apple wants to sell you an iPhone, and the more iPhones out there, that's the more people use their storefront. Exactly. So when people buy the consoles, okay, they're buying more games on that storefront. That encourages third party to do more business with you, maybe exclusives, maybe incentive things in the games, and it also makes 100% of the profit on your storefront if it's a first party game. So the point of the matter here when it comes down to it is people are always saying this is one or the other. They go hand in hand. Right? You want to sell your console so that they are on your storefront. Apple wants to sell you they most certainly want you to buy an iPhone so you use their app store. They don't want you using any other app store. Period. So they go hand in hand. It's not like, you know what I mean? And that's the thing. So he says, yep, storefronts. The storefronts, yes, but you have to get the customer into the store, Reggie. Okay? Yeah. That's the thing. And it's and the console was a very nice access point for people to get into the store easily. Some people will claim, oh, well, PC's where it'll be at. Maybe for Xbox. They're gonna do great as a publisher, by the way. Outstanding as a publisher. They're probably, if they're not the number one publisher, they will be. But as far as platform, it's different. Go ahead.
Let me ask all of you guys this a question, a very simple question. Okay. Remember back in the day, the 2016 PlayStation Showcase, the Xbox Showcase, the big showcases that we always fondly look back to, right? They were wondering why were they fondly looked back at? Because there were games that we were like on pins and needles. When is this fucking thing coming out? When is this fucking thing coming out? When is the fucking thing coming out? We were on pins and needles. When is the release date? We were waiting for the fucking release date. Back in the day, famously, Peter Moore tattooed the GTA release on his arm, right?
That's right.
And we wanted to play these games. What game, we've been now 2 years, let's just take past 2 years, or let's just say past year and a half. What game is coming out in the pipeworks that you are on pins and needles and cannot wait, that immediately comes out, you're going to download that sucker and play it day and night, and you cannot, period. You cannot wait. You cannot put that on the back burner, and this takes precedence over anything. What game is coming out that you can say that for?
I can say
WWE 2K.
I was gonna say Intergalactic, but that's me.
I'll tell you right now, I don't know enough about Intergalactic to say that I'm going to like it. It looks like something I would like, right? I'm not saying it's not a good game, or I'm not saying it's a bad game. I don't know. It's a game. I don't know what type of
game. Well, you just said, that excitement, a bit of the excitement when it comes to a game reveal like they did is that
GTA 6.
well, GTA,
Everybody's gonna
G,
pay
listen,
that.
GTA
GTA
6
6.
crazy.
Absolutely,
Day
GTA
one.
6. That's a given. I was going
Yeah.
one outside of the given. Yes, GTA 6, of course.
We all
all the
probably not
rest
gonna
of these-
sleep good that
all
night.
Of the rest of these
That's true.
games, all of the rest of these games are just noise. They're good games, but
I don't
yeah.
know, there's a lot of games so far this gen. I've been very
I'll get to
disappointed,
it.
but there's quite a few games that are coming out that I'm excited for, and I'll be the first one to say I'm pretty negative on a lot of stuff. But Wolf Among Us 2, Grand Theft Auto 6, Fable, Mafia: The Old Country.
Yeah.
I mean, that's piqued the hell out of my interest. There's a lot of stuff that I'm personally interested in. So
Absolutely.
we'll see how it goes. Again, like last year, the most played games that I played, believe it or not, was college football. So it's like, I mean, there's stuff there.
You didn't see
It's
that
like, look,
coming.
I'm looking forward to Outer Worlds 2 because I love the first one. So, again, it's like there's
Outer Worlds,
this
so
year's.
let's say, for example, let's just say Outer Worlds 2. Okay, let's just take Outer Worlds 2, and I do not mean anything against Outer Worlds. So please, people, do not say I'm a fan. I'm a whatever. Say Outer Worlds 2 comes out a week after GTA 6. Are you going to put GTA 6 on the back burner to play Outer Worlds 2?
Me, no.
Yeah.
No,
No,
I would.
nobody will.
But Crap might, because I know
I will.
Crap's probably not. He's not a big GTA.
I've never beat a GTA game. I start them and I'm like, this is pretty cool, and then you just get it's just like there's too
Crap.
much.
It's in Florida.
Crap.
Come on, crap.
exactly. You didn't like those big booty bitches?
You're gonna
Oh, no.
drive
Come
down
on.
your neighborhood. You're gonna see your house. You're gonna poke
I'm gonna
around.
be like,
and-
yeah. It's like, no. Listen, I'll play because I
You
bought.
see that
I
big
bought
booty bitch he picked up from the corner last week.
Yeah,
and stuff
yeah,
like
like,
that.
Yeah.
I
Gators.
pretty much bought them
Gators,
all.
yeah, yeah.
Hurricanes.
But the
yeah.
problem is, I've never actually beat them or anything. You know what
Well,
I mean? It's like
Are you
Crap.
talking about the game or the big booty
yeah,
bitch?
Crap, you-
game.
Oh, okay.
Crap, you would have beat the GTA 5. You were playing Outer Worlds came out. But
Outer Worlds
right,
came
of
out,
course.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Of course. I mean, we have to.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like, you know
Therein
what
lies
the
the
problem is, Mooch, and I'll be honest, and this is a me thing.
Yeah.
It's the same problem I had with Witcher 3. It's like I'm sitting there playing, and 40 hours in, I had like 25 gamer score, and I don't like that. You know what I mean? It's like if I beat a chapter, I like games that give you achievements for, and I know that's lame or whatever, but I like getting the achievements or trophies for doing just the shit. It keeps you going. You're like, cool.
Right.
I was like 70 hours into Witcher, and like 5 hours in a row playing and nothing pops, and like that shit gets old. I was in the GTA 5 on the 360 when it originally
I told
came
you,
out, right?
crap. I'm excited for Witcher 4, but Witcher 3, I had to leave in my will for the kids to finish. Yeah,
exactly. I'm like, hey, the Witcher 3, great game,
great
cool.
game,
I was enjoying the hell out of it, but I get it. I put 70 some hours into it.
long
but
game.
It's just like, yeah.
Well, the thing is,
I'm nowhere.
Listen, I don't know. You can call it OCD and gaming, call it whatever you guys want, but I love side quests, right? I literally do side quests. If there's a side quest that pops up, main quest takes a seat, and I go off. The problem with The Witcher 3 was the side quests were too damn good. I've never said that about any other game. Too damn good. Shout out to Ocelot. He says Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 devs had to nerf the scope for Series S. That's when we were talking about it. Shout out to Ocelot. We were talking about Kingdom Come Deliverance with Wooly. Babor Contre's here. Babor, the show can start. He says, bro, nobody cares about B-tier games from B-tier studios. The others are, he says, Xbox refugees, PC gamers. He says, that Housemarque game, whoa, Intergalactic. I think you're saying... he says Sora here, but I think he means Saros. Ghost and Death Stranding, Wolverine, Sony SIE quietly announced games. I will say one thing. A lot of people were down on PlayStation and saying that they're not putting out what they've done in other generations. You guys have to understand the second half of the PS4, and don't get me wrong, I say it all the time as a joke, but I think we all have short-term memory in the gaming community. It was the second half that put the PS4 in the place that it was. And I'm not talking about sales. I'm talking about the remembering. The part that you said was amazing, unbelievable. Okay? And when you look at it, we have Housemarque's game, you have Intergalactic coming out, you have Saros, you have Ghost of Yote, Death Stranding, to Wolverine, and we don't even know yet what Cory Balrog's working on. And there's a couple of other projects we don't know what's going to happen. And yes, we heard the bad news. The bad news was that Bend, and the bad news was that Blue Point were working on games as a service. They got canceled. Which, by the way, that's addition by subtraction. Okay? So, I mean, that's one of the things. Brian Cutler says, breaking news from Zuby. Valkyrie Entertainment is working on a strategy game to be revealed at the Game Awards.
Ooh, fucking strategy game.
Well,
Damn, don't bust me
Right, I
up.
was gonna say, don't get crap excited, please.
Wow.
I mean,
you guys, man.
love.
Crap is getting a
absolutely-
chubby. There you go.
I absolutely
I'm
love
half-
strategy.
I'm half his heart. Hey, I can tell my wife I'm halfway there for tomorrow night. Let's
There
go.
you
Jeez.
Jay loves that shit.
That's what I said. That's what I said for my show. I got to cancel. Tomorrow's V Day. I'm going to try to get some V. That's the only-
Jay, you like that? I'm gonna have to change it from PG-13 to something else.
Exactly.
What were you gonna say, Death Singer? About was it a comment from the about that game or no?
Shout out to that super chat though. That was a shout out to you being a fanboy. But again, because if you actually spread your horizons, you'd encounter fantastic games that you wouldn't otherwise. But whatever. No, but
tried
onto the
lots of
strategy
games.
game. The thing is, the strategy game, it's either hit or miss,
Yeah.
and I have no idea who the hell these people are. I've never heard of them. It's probably their first outing. So yes, it's breaking news, but don't hold your breath because a lot of strategy games come out and they just die because
If it's not
they're not good.
StarCraft 3, I don't want it.
I do have to agree with
You're never getting StarCraft 3.
Singer
I
on
don't think
that one.
console gamers give a fuck about those type of games. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought Halo Wars was okay, but it wasn't like but they it was really simplified and they had a hell of a lot of good cutscenes and stuff that I was interested in as the story to Halo, the mainline series. It really kind of played into that, both the first and the second Halo Wars. But other than that, man, I've tried playing all that other
You
shit.
played
It's just,
Halo Wars for the story.
yeah, Halo Wars 2 especially.
So do you
So-
play
not play
for the
that?
story as well?
Chess? No, have you not played Halo Wars 2?
Okay. No, I mean, I don't get. I don't
Oh, the
play
cut. You could look it up. The cutscenes. The Blur did them. Fucking phenomenal. Really, they introduce you to Atriox. The whole situation. I mean, before it was a very captivating story for Halo where they were going, and they ruined a lot of it. But yeah, it was I played it, and the cutscenes. It was like a movie. It was awesome.
Well, so
To be honest, I
go ahead,
agree with
Dexter.
crap here, and I can't fault crap for not liking RTS games because if we're being 100% honest, on consoles, they're gimped, dumbed down versions of what they should be. Shout out to AoE and Age of Mythology. Really bad versions of the game coming to PlayStation.
You can't play an
I would
RTS
say-
with a gamepad. You cannot play it on
Don't-
RTS
don't
efficiently
do
with a
it.
gamepad.
You need a mouse and keyboard and a PC to play RTS games. That is the only acceptable way. Otherwise, you're getting a subpar, horrible experience. There
You're
we go.
getting screwed online. You're going to get killed online.
Oh, well,
with
you can't
PC.
even play with PC players online because you'd be unfair. You get murdered. So
Well,
Yeah, because they got all the cheat stuff going on. That's why.
no, they got all the hotkeys. No, they
all
don't
the
cheat in.
hotkeys.
Who cheats in RTS games? No one does that.
Hey, who cheats?
No,
Who
no
cheats
one
in?
does
If you ever
If they
played
modded with the nudes and stuff like that.
Hey,
Come on,
hey,
man.
who would have thought
No.
that they would have cheated in Sea of Thieves? But fuckers, me and Mooch
Yeah,
were playing
exactly.
Sea of Thieves
No,
against
They
you
did.
PC
need all
players.
those fucking hotkeys because one of the strategies of StarCraft is the first Zerg rush, and most people when they come in, they'll throw a Zerg rush at you, and if you're not fast enough as a Protoss or a Terran to counter that Zerg rush, you're dead like in the first 5 minutes of the game. So you need all those hotkeys to be able to fight that. So,
Hey, why is I am the only person on the panel who understood what you just said.
this is also a true
put it
story.
out.
That's a true story. Shout out to Jimmy Harrison. He says, shout out to the best damn podcast. Good to see you, brothers. The great Jimmy Harrison. Jimmy, thank you for that. Go ahead,
I
Crap.
blanked out for a second. I don't know what the hell was being said.
Yeah. I blanked. I completely passed out while he said that. Rambling Entertained says Sony has a better roadmap for PC than its own PS5. So let's talk about that for a second. Rambling, I couldn't have asked for a better segue into my next topic here, and that is the roadmap. D, I'll start with you. D, what do you think about this? PlayStation 5's roadmap, I said this a second ago, but basically I'll reiterate it again in the question, falls perfectly in line with the past PlayStation consoles. Why is there constant negativity or a spin on this where they're like, this isn't it? If you look at the games that have released, it's been a pretty damn good generation, and they haven't even hit their big guns yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the issue that gamers are having? That some of these games are coming to PC, like Spider-Man came to PC.
No, nothing to do with PC at all. They're just saying that a lot of people in the community are feeling that PlayStation 5's not living up to like the hype of what games did on PS4 and PS5 from their first
Nah,
party.
They were still
They-
announcing
they-
PS4 stuff at that show, yeah.
No, man, no. They've had the PS5 generation's been really good. It's slowed down a little bit, but if you look traditionally at how the PlayStation console's trajectory is, that's how it goes. They come out strong, have a mid little bit, towards the end, it kind of slows down a little bit. Then it picks up, and then the new generation comes out. So I have no issues with the PlayStation, man. Like if I was just on Xbox, I'd be disappointed with Xbox. I wouldn't be talking anything about PlayStation. And PlayStation guys, I think they're just spoiled. And they want banger after banger after banger after banger after banger after banger. And these games, they take time. And if you want quality games, they take time. And I think the pacing has been good. Sure, Intergalactic, I wish it would come out this year. Sure, but it's not happening, right? You're going to have to wait for that game. But there's going to be some surprise titles from Sony that come out this year, okay?
Yep.
The year just started. So you're going to, I would say, if you get 2-3 bangers a year from Sony, that's good. If you get, 2 games that are very good, maybe not top tier, but they're very good, also a year, I think that's good. You got, and when Sony, the thing with Sony is that when they don't have the games to give you themselves, they go out and they get the games to give you guys to make you feel special, right? So I don't know, man. I think people are just making a much about nothing.
No, but the gamer needs to grow up a little bit in the sense, and people are going to push back again when I say this, but the gamer needs to grow up. Okay, when we think about PlayStation, we think about the PlayStation 2 era when we were flooded with like your Tekkens and then your
third party games.
Yeah, they're all third parties.
No. Well, Jack and Daxter was, and neither was Sly Cooper. All of that was
okay. That's 2 games.
You were getting
the rest of
you were getting hit after hit after hit. Now, why were you able to get that? Was because these were small, protracted experiences.
Yes.
When they shift focus from these small, protracted experiences to these major, epic, sprawling, magnum opuses, if you will, these fucking magnum opuses that are 50 hours long require a whole lot of time to make, and a whole lot of developers to make it. You know what I'm saying?
Those PS1 games and PS2 games, you don't realize it, but go back and play those games. Those games are like fucking 4 or 5 hour long. That's it.
Yeah.
But back then, that was the new stuff to us, and we had nothing to compare it to except like the NES and stuff, and clearly those games are going to be bigger. So that's why. And now we got these 100-hour fucking games and 50 and 60-hour games. Like,
I don't have enough time in life to play all of them.
well, exactly. But it goes back to what D said, and I've been on record saying this. As a PlayStation guy, like, yes, we're spoiled, but also we're sore winners. Like, we've won every generation. We're you get all the games, you got all the Final Fantasy. Even when there's no first party games, you still got all the exclusives. Look at last year. Last year was supposed to be a down year for PlayStation. They still ended up winning Game of the Year. They still had like 5 or 6 PS5 exclusives, right? That were GOTY contenders and winners. And it's just crazy. And this is every year. Every year, PlayStation is going to have at least 3 or 4 GOTY contenders, right? And then it's just.
Okay,
and then I look at it from a PlayStation angle. I'll be honest. If I was an Xbox only guy, I would hope to be in PlayStation position. You guys, some of the Xbox guys, they're like, man, we would love to be in a position that PlayStation is. But PlayStation guys are just like, we're so used to just winning all the time. It becomes I feel like it becomes a negative effect because you're always whining about something, and it's all this is my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt, but I just feel like there's a lot of just whining for everything. It's like, dude, you just got flooded with a shitload of games. You just won Game of the Year last year. You just got a mid-gen refresh. You got VR, you got Portals, you got all this shit that the competition don't have, and you're still bitching and whining.
You get over competition's games.
Yes, you getting all of their games on top of yours. Like, and you got this big buffet of everything, and you still got the nerve to just whine and cry over just. That's why sometimes I check out.
I feel like
I set my account offline and I just game to myself.
I got to be honest with you. I do agree with what Jay's saying to a certain extent here. A lot of people go right to the first party discussion. That's fine, but I feel like PlayStation, especially even in the PS4 era, you look at it. You have Ghost of Yotai, right? Then you have Death Stranding 2. Right, I mean, and I understand Death Stranding 2 is not first party. I completely understand that. If that's the argument you want to take, that's fine. But I mean, there's games that are coming out that they go out and they grab and they put their stamp on it. And if that's where the game is only available on console, I know because Detzinger is chomping at the bit right now to be like, these are coming to PC. I got it. But I'm saying, as far as a console gamer is concerned, that's the place that you would go and spend your $500 or $700 if you want a Pro. That's where you spend your money because now you have the Xbox games going there, third-party exclusive deals for a year or longer going there, and then Sony's first-party games. And yes, some of them, like Wise just said, are taking longer because we went from that 4 or 5 hour experience to that 20 to 30 hour experience. Go ahead. Somebody was going to say something. Sorry, Wise. Go ahead.
But it's not about winning or losing. It's not a.
No.
I'm not even looking at it as a competition. What I'm looking at is why people are bitching and complaining all the time is because they're expecting PS2 era of cadence with PS4 era type games, and you can't have that. And Sean Layden said that before he left the company. He said we can't keep doing this. This is something that's got to give. And and there was a backlash when he said it. Oh, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. No, he knows very well what the hell he's talking about. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You can either have one or the other. You can either have smaller, more frequent, protracted experiences or longer magnum opuses that take longer to make.
So here's another question for you. And Detzinger, I'll ask you this. C. Wubby says, Wolverine was announced too early. It's so disappointing. We've got nothing besides the leak.
Yeah.
Listen, that's fine. But, that's a debate we've been having on podcasts for the better part of a decade. So you get criticized for showing something you're working on early. And then we're like, why don't you guys show something? Right? So which is it? Which is it? You can't have both. Do you want them to show you what they're working on when they start? Or do you want them to not say anything and be like, where's this team? Like Corey Balrog. People are like, where's Corey Balrog? Where is he?
It's a catch-22, right? So people wanted Microsoft to announce stuff because they had nothing for so many years, so they had to, right? Microsoft was forced to announce stuff that was 4 or 5 years away. They had no other choice. I feel like Sony, and this is my opinion, is like that with their first party too. They have to show. They have to start showing shit, right? Listen, I buy a PlayStation for the PlayStation bangers. I don't care about a lot of the other stuff I don't care about their roguelikes and stuff like that. I want the Uncharted's, the God of Wars. That's why I buy a PlayStation. So I want to see that stuff. I was disappointed that they left Jin behind with the new Ghost game. So that kind of deflated my excitement for that game, right out of the box as well. It just kind of is what it is. I want to see what they got coming. It's like we can sit there and go, yeah, they can't have the same cadence, but they canceled 10 games. They shouldn't. A lot of those studios should have never been in a position where they were making a games as a service game in the first place. That's they can be. There's poor management at PlayStation, just like Xbox. And actually, PlayStation should be very thankful that Microsoft couldn't fucking run a lemonade stand, let alone a fucking console business, right? Because anybody worth their salt would have put Sony's nose into that dog shit all fucking year, right? With all the stuff they made a lot of mistakes. They had to cancel 10 games. They released a joke that's Concord. I would have been fucking releasing commercials making fun of that, right? Like, oh, look at this shit. Look at this guy over here, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, over there they got this. Over here we got fucking Call of Duty and Game Pass. We got fucking we got this, right? I would have been shoving that shit right down their throat. But Microsoft can't, they can't get out of their own way. So of course, Sony is winning over Xbox fans. But to me, I haven't turned mine on this entire year, my PlayStation. So I know everybody does different stuff or likes different stuff or whatever. But for me, like, man, Mooch, you'll say it. I played Returnal, and you go, crap, you're not gonna like that.
Right.
And I didn't, right. I don't got time for that shit. Dying and going back to the beginning of the game. I ain't got time for that. That's why I don't like Souls games. Right? It is what it is. There's certain types of games that I don't like, and those are two of the ones at the top. Souls games and fucking roguelikes. Right? And so I don't those are like two at the top of my I don't like those. And a lot of the games that Sony shows look a lot alike. And listen, I'm not saying Xbox is 100% great. I don't give a shit about Ninja Gaiden. You know what I mean? Or however you say it. I don't know if you've ever watched The Wizard, Mooch, but the guy's like, Gaiden! I don't know. Like, I've said it both ways, and people are like, "You're saying it wrong, so fuck off." It's,
I get
whatever.
it all the time.
I say
Ninja Gaiden or something, and it is not Gaiden. It's not Gaiden.
It's Gaiden. Gaiden. So it's Gaiden.
I don't think that's gonna be. I don't think that'll be your bag either, though. Crap. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, So that those games aren't really my bag. So it's like when people were really stoked about Ninja Gaiden. I don't care. I couldn't care less. I'm not downloading that shit. I don't care about that. There's been games that have surprised me this generation, like Hi-Fi Rush, believe it or not, surprised me. You know what really surprised me? Ghostwire Tokyo. I fucking loved that game for some reason. It was awesome. It was, yeah. Fucking loved that game. It was fun. I played through it twice. I played it on Xbox. I played it on PlayStation as well. I have the physical copy. They didn't release a physical copy on Xbox, but I bought the physical copy on PlayStation. When it came out, that game was a lot of fun. You know what I mean? It's like there's some games that just aren't indoctrinated with a bunch of bullshit, and that's like one of the games to me was really good.
But when crap, when you,
it's a good game too.
Yeah, but when you stop and look at it for a second, so Intergalactic may be a game that's up your alley, right? Just for example, Wolverine's definitely going to be a game that's up your alley. I mean,
he'd like Intergalactic,
right?
I think he'd like it.
I think he would like Intergalactic quite a bit. And
we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Like I said, but I would like to see, some gameplay. I don't know something.
I'm also assuming. Well, let me just say real quickly. I'm assuming crap also that Intergalactic is going to be following in the footsteps of the combat. Maybe hopefully moving in the even more higher echelon than like The Last of Us 2. Having that plus a melee weapon. We're seeing a melee weapon. Probably gonna have some sort of shooting mechanic at some point. I think you would dig that. I really can see that. Now,
well, you know what? The other thing that's kind of annoying, Mooch, is because I like Days Gone. I thought it was a little drawn out, right?
It was.
By the end,
it was long. It was a long game.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But it's like, and I played it, and I was like, this is good. And this was at a time where people were like, oh, you're just saying that. And I'm like, no, it's a good game.
It is.
I understand that reviewers played it when it was buggy and it was really bad at first, but they really like the day one patch fixed that stuff, and they continued to fix it, and it was a really good game. If that game were to come out now, how it is, it'd probably be an 85. So I mean, I have I have no issue saying that. The problem I have with that is, so they put this game out, they remastered it, but they really kind of threw the game under the bus in the first place, right? This game sold 8-9 million copies, and they're just like, you know what I mean? And now they're like, hey, let's go ahead and remaster it and throw some more content in there. I don't think they have any intentions to ever let them do a sequel. I think that just they're to get something out there.
Well, I was gonna say we don't really know. And crap, sometimes a lot of people are saying, hey, you know what? You didn't give this game a shot back in the day. So a lot of people saying this, and a lot of people say this about Xbox too. When you saw the older Final Fantasy games get on there, they're like, go buy the games, Xbox fans, because if you want to prove your point to Square Enix, you got to buy them. And they didn't buy them. So here's another thing. So you have Days Gone coming back out, right? And now it's been enhanced. They're throwing all these things at you, blah, blah, blah. Go get it. But will people get it? That may decipher whether or not Ben Studios gets to make a sequel.
Yeah, people ask for shit all the time. They don't buy it. They don't support it. And it's
like Xbox fans asking for Final Fantasy, right? They ain't gonna buy it.
Yeah. And when it comes time to buy, it's like you just fucking sit at home. The numbers don't lie, right? We see these fucking numbers every month. The top played games or whatever. We see some of these games. It's like, damn, it was a fucking damn good game. Why people didn't support this? And then you look at that list and it pissed me off. The top played games is your fucking Marvel Rivals and your cards and your 2Ks and all these live service games that everybody claim to hate, right? They claim to hate live service games and game service games, but those are the fucking top played 20 games every single month. So gamers lie. They get online, they lie, but behind the scenes, all they're playing is the shit that they claim that they hate and they don't like. And then they're wondering why Sony goes out and try to make all these fucking live service games. It's because the numbers are showing you, the stats are showing you, this is where the gamers are going. This is where they're playing. So, and it's not just for Sony. It's for Microsoft too. Microsoft went to spend $100 billion worth of fucking live service games, right? And the industry's like that. All the third party is doing that. And you know
what the problem is, Jay, is the third party is doing that, and the third party is like doing that, I think, better in my opinion, because they're doing it. I don't know. Maybe it's just you know what I'm saying. It's like
they don't have a console to you know what I'm saying. They don't have that.
It's like, and then they realize that's what happened with like Naughty Dog or whatever. They're like, okay, so we put out this live service game. If it's a hit, we got our best single player studio fucking stuck working on content nonstop for this game, right? It's like you can't really do that. You gotta have, like, people buy PlayStation for they play Call of Duty and Fortnite, but they also play the exclusives, and you can't lose that. And I think Jim Ryan got up there and was like, "Don't worry, we're still gonna make that." And he was kind of full of shit with some of that stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm hopeful that their new leadership, like right away, they canceled supposedly canceled Gran Turismo on PC. They canceled.
Yeah, they're
Bloodborne
back,
on PC.
backtracking on a lot of shit.
Yeah, like if I were
which is
them,
a good thing, but I mean, I'm gonna be
look,
honest.
I would love that, to be honest with you. Cancel all this shit on PC. Get all of it. Yeah, fuck that.
Crap. I'm with you 1,000%. But I still go back to the numbers as a company, right? As someone who run a corporation, you look at these numbers. These numbers don't lie. People will say that they want X, Y, and Z, but where they spend their money is over here in this other area. And what's the purpose of having a company if you're not focusing on that, the money? And so it's just it's a catch-22, and it's like that's why I tell people, dude, go and buy your game. The whole Days Gone debacle is very laughable to me because I was one of the biggest proponents for Days Gone when it first came out. I bought it, yes, when it came out, like the first week. It had some jank in there and it had bugs that I had to kind of start over again because of the bugs. They eventually patched it and stuff like that. But here's the thing. Gamers really didn't buy it up front. It had legs on the back haul. It was also included in the PlayStation Collection and everything else. So a lot of people got the game, but they really didn't pay full price for the game. And they didn't, a lot of people got it free because it was part of the collection. So it's like we hate when studios close down. Oh, I hate this. Japan studio got closed down. But when you look at all those games that Japan studio made, nobody bought any of that shit. But they don't want the studio, and luckily, even though Sony closed it down, they took the team and they gave them to what known as Astrobot that came of that. You know what I'm saying? So that's great. But everybody still complains. Oh, I want this game in it, but then you don't fucking buy it. You just ask for this shit.
Dude, I was one of the ones that I bought this game on PS3 that probably nobody really remembers. It was called Puppeteer, and it was it was such a unique, fun game, and like nobody remembers it, and like nobody bought it, but everybody's like, man, that game was so like. I hear people sometimes talk about it, like for the few people, like most people don't realize what it is, but they'll go, man, I love that game.
Crap, as well as I know. You remember Sunset Overdrive?
Yeah,
everybody. We want to. I wish. Insomniac actually was begging Microsoft to publish Part 2, and they never did. And but then when you're looking at Microsoft, nobody really bought the first game. We can look back and say it was a great game. It was this, but the numbers don't lie. If you don't buy it, then what the fuck?
I also heard Phil Spencer wasn't a big fan of that game, but he also apparently wasn't a big fan of Alan Wake, and that's why, when Remedy was begging Microsoft to publish Alan Wake 2, he's like, no, you know what I mean? And eventually they gave him back the publishing rights. It's like, your fans need exclusive games. You could publish, Alan Wake 2, you could publish Sunset Overdrive 2, you could give us games, but you're choosing not to, you know what I mean? It's like, also, what is that damn gacha game that just came to Xbox? It's been on PlayStation for a while, but Phil turned it down. I think it's like a Chinese made game, and it's got a mobile version of it too. I think.
Oh, I know. What you're talking about.
Genshin Impact. Yeah, that's
Genshin Impact. Yeah.
Like they went to Microsoft.
And that's the biggest game in the world. That's one of the biggest games in the world. Yeah.
They went to Microsoft with that, and Phil Spencer turned it down.
Well, don't forget, Marvel went to Microsoft first for the Spider-Man games and all the other games, and they turned it down. They turned down a lot of big shit, and Sony just kind of got it and ran with it. And
they wouldn't have had anybody to do those games well anyway.
But you hired somebody. You hired somebody to do it. You got all this unlimited fucking money.
We would never, Spider-Man.
We got Crackdown. That shit should have never came out. There's a lot of games that should have never came out, and we got Redfall was supposed to be canceled. Developers didn't even want to release it, and they and Phil was like, go ahead and ship it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Phil was on that interview. We lost.
Yeah.
Get out console. Hey, Mooch, man, I've said this a million times, right? Your team's gonna hire the coach that says we can't beat these other guys, right? Like, in what world do you got a job doing that, right? Like, imagine somebody hiring a Burger King CEO. So we really want to be aggressive and attack McDonald's. What do you think? We can't beat them. We can't out-burger them. We can't win. You know, are they going to hire that guy? No, they're not going to hire that guy.
Microsoft hired a Pepsi executive and worked for them at that time.
They hired a T-Mobile, Sarah Bond. She doesn't have anything to do about games. She don't know anything about games.
But wasn't Peter Moore part of Pepsi or something before that? He did something really big before that.
He was part of Sega.
No, before Sega. I think it was part of some other major company. I don't know what. I think it was Pepsi, if I'm before he did the whole Sega stuff. So yeah, they technically hired somebody from Pepsi. So there you go.
So let me ask you guys this. I do want to ask you guys another question. Actually, Death Singer, you have a point to make on State of Play before we move on. But Spikes 38, Sphinx 38. I don't know how to pronunciate it. He says Square releases more games than Sony, but no one talks about that. So I don't understand why people brag about Microsoft releasing more games than Sony. Microsoft is a major publisher now. And
of course they're going to release
like
games
I said this last week, I'll say it again. They went out and they bought massive companies. They bought out Bethesda GameWorks. They bought out ZeniMax. They bought out Activision. These are big companies that had a lot of developing teams working for them. Okay? They get credit now. The minute that the deal was done, yes, and they deserve the credit. It is a Microsoft Game Studios game, yes. But they wrote a check, and all of those games prior to that check were on all consoles. They were multi-plat games. So when people are like, well, instantly with the stroke of a pen, Microsoft now has more games than Sony. They bought them, right? They bought them. So it is what it is. I don't know why. I don't see how Sony can compete. I don't even think Nintendo can put out the games that Microsoft is about to put out. I mean, maybe Nintendo. I don't know. I don't think Sony can, but they have a massive amount of developing teams. But I mean, it's Doom, right? Where was Doom before Microsoft owned them? Was Doom on PlayStation? Yeah, it was. Is Fallout 5 going to probably be on PlayStation? More than likely. Fallout 4 was on PlayStation. Elder Scrolls, PlayStation. Like, I mean, I don't understand. So everyone's like, yeah, we're comparing those two. If Sony goes out tomorrow and buys EA, I mean, is it fair for anyone who's a PlayStation fan to go on there the very next day and be like, we got Battlefield. We got Battlefield. We did it. We finally did it. What'd you do? What did you do? Nothing.
But listen, this is the thing, Mooch. You have to understand, right? And I talked about this with somebody who's always on Twitter trying to come at me with stuff, right? So a lot of these Xbox fans, and I'm an Xbox fan, but I'm an actual fan of the console. You know, these Xbox fans talked up power. They talked up, we're finally getting all these exclusives. Microsoft has slapped them around and pushed them back so far that the line that they talk about now is, I had dudes talking up how the next Xbox is just going to be a PC with the Xbox branding on it. Right, that's what they're trying to talk now.
Sad.
Right, I got news for you. If that's your thing that you're hyping, then that's Microsoft admitting that they couldn't cut it with a console in the first place, because that's not an Xbox to me. The other thing is the rental service. I get it. You know, it's a good value, but geez, it's not like it's not like it's a new thing anymore. 8 years and it hasn't. I mean, it's attracted the people that it has. But you're not going to see.
Well, let me ask you a question, though.
People suddenly jump into it and go, "Oh, what the hell?
What I think
I was missing this. Holy cow!"
But when you stop and think about it, listen. I've said this for a long time. Game Pass is value, but value's in the eye of the gamer, eye of the beholder.
I think it's a value. This year is the first year.
So here, you say that crap, right? You say that, but at the same time, I think the value is being measured in quantity, not necessarily quality. If you think,
but listen,
if you go, hey, listen, for $20, if you say for $20 a month, I get 350, 400, whatever. How many games are in Game Pass now? Crap, is it 300, 400?
Yeah, it's 3. I don't know.
300, whatever.
Realistically, there's probably 20 that are pretty good. You know what I mean?
That's my point.
Or that aren't like super old.
No, but I mean, my point with the whole thing is that when you look at what the games were, like you just said, from 2020 till now, people have been paying for Game Pass. And what's really been in Game Pass? Halo Infinite, Forza Horizon 5. Now you have Indiana Jones goes in there, and Avowed, and everybody's like, well, there you go. Yeah. There you go. But here's what I've been saying for 5 years. What?
Like, listen, I'm not the biggest Doom guy, but I know that Doom game's going to be fire.
Doom is going to be amazing, by the way, but Doom is still going to do better on PlayStation.
Oh, I'm sure it will. I'm just saying in terms of if you're a Game Pass person, it's like
Absolutely.
you have stuff.
Yes.
This
Absolutely.
is the year that it's going to
Yes.
be. I think hey, you finally got something. But it's like a lot of people were paying for years where there was nothing, like 2022 or whatever it was.
When people were
literally
stacking up with those
nothing.
3-year,
Yeah, exactly. I did
deals.
that, and I felt like I would have loved to pause it that year, right? Because there was nothing. There was no. I got Pentiment. Are you serious? A game where I can fucking read and read and read.
Well, crap. At
and
least we got.
read.
At least I got it at 120 frames on my PS5.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's like for me, it's like I I can see that and I get it, but it's like Xbox fans have been pushed off their line. The old hold the line saying, right? They got pushed back so far off the line where it was like powerful console, great exclusives. They're fighting. Now it's they're making money. They have this rental service. It's going to be a PC that you're going to be able to sideload Steam, and that's how they're really going to get Sony, guys, because they're going to put Steam on it, and you can sideload it and play those PlayStation games that are on. I'm like, you know what? If I wanted to fucking play a PC and play PlayStation games on PC, I would fucking do that. I don't want to do that. Right? I wouldn't fucking. I don't want to. Look, I wouldn't play on PC for all the fucking pasta in Italy, Mooch. You couldn't get me to do that. I'm sorry.
That I'm aware of. That I am aware of.
Yes, and I've never changed my stance on that. Right? I'm just not that guy.
No.
So it's like, and it's not a cost thing because I fucking own all the consoles, thousands of fucking games. It's not an issue. The thing is, I don't want a game that way. So for me, I want the Xbox to survive and thrive and be competition. And I buy all of them for the distinct things. And people go, well, what's it matter if somebody else is playing it? Well, it's not that somebody else is playing it. It takes away a reason to own it. And then you have less people owning it, less people in the multiplayer, which forces more crossplay with PC, which I don't like.
Mm-hmm.
It's like less, developers are going to put less attention into those versions of the games. Yeah. Like, we don't know. I'm very curious to see how Microsoft handles this going forward. Are they going to do, you're just going to be able to buy their console online, you know what I mean? Kind of like the Surface. Are they going to do a worldwide launch?
You know what? All right, so I was going to go. Well, hold on. First, let me ask Deathsinger. Hold on a second. Wise, Deathsinger had a comment on State of Play, and then I want to, because we're going to go back into something. Deathsinger, do you still have a State of Play comment?
I do.
Please.
I do. I laughed silently to myself after the State of Play. Right?
Why is this?
The reason I laughed is because I saw a whole bunch of Xbox guys bashing the State of Play going, look, all these games. So I did I went to where I look on Google. Apparently they're hardcore gamers, so they should be in touch with this. But whatever, I'll fall back. Hardcore gamers don't know how to use Google, whatever. So I went through 17 games shown at the State of Play are coming to Xbox day and date. And I'm like, so you're not sat there going, wow, I can't wait to play this game. You're sat there going, fuck PlayStation. And I was sat there and I'm like, 23 of these games are coming to PC.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Right. I want to play those games.
I'm going to play.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
That's right.
This is new shit I get to play. But instead, they argue it. And it's like, but if you did a quick Google, you would understand 17 of these games are coming to your console. So you should be going, thank you for showing me more games I want to play.
Yeah. No, I think your point is valid. It's the same thing. I saw a lot more people, like I said, when we did our show and we watched the Xbox Showcase, and of course when we even watched the Xbox Developer Direct, I was like, yeah, these look like some games that I want to play. Like, I can't wait to play Doom, right? South of Midnight definitely has me interested. Avowed, I told you, I'm on the offense a bit.
I think this is the thing. Like,
we'll find out.
Sony will do their own shows for their own stuff, right? Later on, or whatever the case. I'm well aware of that. I think they like showing a lot of the third-party stuff just to make people confused a bit and make them think that it's their own stuff, right?
Yep.
And that works because, to be fair, like the Destiny thing. Remember, Mooch? There were people that thought Destiny was
exclusive for years.
PlayStation exclusive, yeah. You know what I mean? There are some people, like, people would buy Call of Duty because you could play the beta earlier, get an extra class slot, or whatever the case may be. Like, they're smart, at least with that stuff. I give them credit for that. They do that kind of stuff. So, I can understand why they want to be known as the Borderlands console, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that shit was going to happen either way. But, it's like, hey, people will associate it now. Maybe they have some kind of content or whatever, like that Harry Potter Hogwarts game or whatever it was, right? You had a exclusive thing. That sells people and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they do a good job
Well,
with that kind of.
just to
marketing
go full circle real quick, crap, because actually Marsh made a good comment, and it was something I had in my notes I didn't bring up. But when I was making that comment about Xbox and they're buying those teams, where's like the coalition? Where's their game, right? What have they been doing since 2019? We're gonna see something from E-Day, right? But like my point is you can say, well, they're gonna make E-Day. That's fine, but that was 2019. It's 2025. So let's say E-Day comes out in 2026, right? Or they're gonna come out later this year. It's still been 5-6 years. So when you look at what's going on, and by the way, the coalition's a very talented group. Okay, so when you look at that situation and you say, okay, Forza Motorsport, right? Turn 10 crap. That was how long? 5-6 years in between.
Yeah.
Okay, that's 5-6 years right there. And then I ask you this. I'll say, okay, 343. There was the difference between Halo 5 to Halo Infinite, which was supposed to come out in 2020 and didn't. And now when's the next time we're going to see something from 343? Okay, we're going in 2025, and they release.
Maybe we'll
But my point is,
depends.
I'm just making a point.
You're right.
I'm just making a point.
There's rumors that we're gonna get. Here's the thing, right? I have a feeling we're gonna see the new God of War next year, and I have very strong reasoning for that because God of War came out in 2018. The next one 2022, right? Which would mean 2026 would be the year, right? So I mean, and the Horizon game, right? Because it's not like they're reinventing the wheel with those. So next year could possibly be, and also have the Wolverine game. It could be the best year in many years for maybe that Galactic game too, right? It could be full of bangers, right? Maybe it is, right? And that would be awesome. I'm just saying, a little bit of a roadmap would be appreciated, I think, and the same shit that I used to complain about with Xbox.
Right.
I mean, here's the thing. Here's how I feel as, how hardcore Xbox I am, Mooch. And it's like, we went years and years with no games and they were making all these promises. And we were almost to the peak there, Mooch. We had the games, they were coming, and then they're like, nah, we're going to put them on PlayStation.
Right.
We never got that celebratory thing, that winning moment, that thing where you can reflect and go, it's well worth it. I mean, there's been some good games, right? I'm like, hey, Indiana Jones is really good or whatever, or, this is good. But it's like we never got that, oh, man, it was worth it moment, and we never will.
Well, crap, think about it.
It's just video games, but it still is kind of shitty.
Yeah, but crap, think about it. PlayStation roadmap is 100% of Xbox games, 100% of the third party, all the second party, and the Ghost of Yotai, the Dead Stranding 2.
Yeah, they get it. I mean, they'll get more.
It's 100% of it is there.
Yeah.
So
and they'll even get more third party stuff. That's why.
Let me ask you guys a question. Apart from so we can say full force that PlayStation games, their PlayStation exclusives, will eventually come to PC a year down the line, 2 years down the line, whatever that time frame they decided to be, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. And this is something I was talking to one of my in real life friends about. He was like, his contention was, the stressors are now more on the PlayStation first party games because, if you're a strict console player like I am, you're going to buy a PlayStation next or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But most people are now debating whether, should I buy a PC or should I buy a console? Now, like Deathstringer, what would compel Deathstringer to buy a PlayStation? Period, because he knows that their exclusives will eventually migrate. So the only reason that he would want a PlayStation as a PC player is if he wants to play those exclusives the day they launch. Yeah. So are those exclusives going to be compelling enough for Deathstringer to pull the trigger?
Well, maybe not him. No. Maybe not him because of the type of games he plays. I'm not sure he's
as an example, not necessarily.
Yeah. But let's say GTA 6, right? Let's say you got a 5090, you got a $10,000 PC. You're gonna have to wait years to play GTA 6. Whereas consoles, guess what? That's why most PC guys, whether they like it or not, most of them are probably going to end up buying a PS5 Pro just to play GTA 6, or they're going to sit around and wait 2 years. And on top of that, let's say you waited all these years to play some of those PlayStation games that came over, the Final Fantasies and stuff. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. came out janky. Spider-Man 2 came out, janky. A lot of people, a lot of stuff that go. You just it's the luck of the draw. You just never know. And
They're
imagine
charming, not
having a
janky.
$10,000 fucking PC sitting around waiting for some console ports. You finally get it, and it's subpar because it's janky, it's buggy, or whatever. Like that would make me feel some type of way.
Well, what
I
I'm
think
saying
I
is,
think on PC though, guys don't really sit around waiting for console ports. It's a small
I agree. I agree because listen, real PC. I'm not going to say fake PC, but there's console guys that migrated over to PC because they want to play higher fidelity, higher frames and higher resolution. Right?
Mhm.
Those are still console guys that just started playing console games on their PC. And then there's real PC guys that only care about PC games. They don't care about your Spider-Mans. They don't care about God of Wars and all that other stuff. They play their Dotas. They play their CSGOs.
Yep,
They play
you look at the top
RTS.
10,
and that's
Jay,
99% of
it's
PC
the same
gamers.
shit. It's the
Yes.
same shit. It's Rust,
Yep.
Dota 2,
Yep.
League of Legends,
Yep.
Team
What they
Fortress,
say what
Counter
90
Strike.
the stats came out and like 90% of PC gamers game at 1080p. And the graphics card, the average graphics card is like a RTX 3060, right? That's less than a damn PS4. That's less than a PS5 and an Xbox Series X, right? So
I want to touch on something you said because it kind of just sparked me.
okay.
When GTA 6 comes out, and to be honest with you guys, I'm like 95% sure it's going to come out this year because Rockstar has
Yes.
had every opportunity to back out of it, and they're telling their
Yep.
investors still that it's coming out this year.
Yep.
So that game is coming out this year. I saw that the Battlefield devs said, since it's coming out this year, we're going to freaking move our game.
Move out to next
You know
year.
what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Mhm.
So when that game comes out, I'm
It's gonna
telling
hit
you
like
right
a
now,
nuke. It's gonna hit like a nuke.
people that are on the PlayStation 4, those fuckers. Oh, sorry, man. Didn't mean to swear. Those guys, they are
they're
going
moving.
to migrate over to the PlayStation 5. They're going to
Yep.
come in hordes. People
Yep.
have no idea how powerful
Yep.
GTA
I have a
is.
feeling that
Now-
Sony's
now-
going to
now
have
these-
a
this-
marketing.
Sony's gonna lower their price.
Now these guys, hold on. These guys, thinking, the Xbox One guys are going to migrate over and get a Series X or something, or a Series S. These guys, some of them will migrate over and get a Series S or a Series X, but most of them, I feel they're going to migrate and get a PlayStation 5 because it's going to be a lot more appealing because there's all these games that they didn't play on the PlayStation before. The Xbox games are going over there.
Yeah, the better version of their own games.
At that point in time, Halo's going to be announced already. I'm pretty sure Starfield is going to be announced already.
Yes.
Indiana Jones is going to be on there. Forza Horizon 5 is going to be on there at that time. It's going to make it less of a reason to own an Xbox. And then you got the Trojan horse, the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, we don't know the performance that the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to have for Grand Theft Auto 6. Now, there's a bunch of guys out there saying, it's just going to be 30 FPS. Right now, I'm going to call it. I don't care. You guys can flame me if this doesn't come true, because that means the devs are a piece of shit. It's going to have more than 30 FPS. I don't know if it's going to be a lock 60 FPS. I'm not going to go on the limb and say it'll be a lock 60 FPS, but I will say it will have an unlocked mode, and it will run more than 30 FPS. And if that is the case and that is announced, a lot of people are going to opt for the PlayStation 5 Pro. So what I'm trying to basically say is that things are not going to get better for Xbox. They're going to get a lot worse, especially come when GTA comes out.
And GTA 6 has to come out this year. This is not an insider's piece of information. They have cashed in all of their bonds. So before, the company released bonds for the investors to buy, and they cashed in the bonds because of GTA 6 coming out this year. They're expecting a big bolus of income coming in at the tail end of the year. That's why they cashed their bonds. So they are sort of like backed into a corner. They do not have I'm not going to say they don't have any money. That's not what I'm saying. But they've cashed in their loans. So that's why they're doing it, because it's coming out this year.
They even said expect in fluctuation of console sales for that. They're already prepared and ready for that. So it's
to J-Dub's point about the PC gamers, if I told you what's my most played multiplayer game, my most played, what would your answer be?
It'll be a game that's not on console and that most people don't even know about.
League of Legends. And I've been playing that since 2009, since release. Here's another thing, Civilization. Played it since the first
Civilization.
one on PC. And then I think of the other games I played, Stellaris, Rome,
Yep.
the Total War series. And then
Yep.
I look at other games that are only on PC. Like World of Warcraft, right? Well, I've
Yep.
been with World of Warcraft since Burning Crusade 2007 vintage
Mhm.
over here. Like PC, these are the games I play the most, but that's because I've grown up playing RTS
PC-centric
games. If people remember Command and Conquer when it first
Yep,
released
Command
was
and
only
Conquer.
available on PC. Yeah,
Yep.
or Doom was only available on PC at the time. You had Quake, you had Duke Nukem. Like there were just so many things that come to PC. So yeah, Jacob
Max
is
Payne.
correct.
Max Payne.
Yep.
Yeah, like, there's a lot of things. Witcher originated
Yep.
on PC. Like, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
And here's the thing: if you're an Xbox gamer, Forza Horizon, your biggest Trojan horse, the highest rated game on Xbox. I mean, that's consistent. Is going to PlayStation. And what do you think Forza Horizon 6 is probably going to be announced? I'm assuming this summer they're going to announce Forza Horizon 6.
You think so?
I think so. I think
For
so
sure,
because it's
for
about
sure.
I think so. And because it's that time. It's that time. Forza
Well,
Horizon has been out.
They still got Fable in the back burner. So do you think they're going to
Well,
all of a sudden announce
listen,
that?
I'm going to go out on a limb. And say there's a chance Fable could be day and date on PlayStation and Nintendo. The only reason a lot of this stuff isn't announced is because they've been waiting for the Switch 2. I feel like Phil and them has been waiting. You know, they've been trickling down some of the stuff over the PlayStation, but they're really waiting for it. They're gonna go a full blown out. This is on PlayStation. This is on Nintendo because there's a huge install base there. They're gonna make money hand over fist, and they're gonna be, Satya's just gonna be laughing at the bank, and all his worries is gonna be over. That's all they care.
100%. And I hate when gamers say, "Oh, this is the future," and Xbox sees the future. No, the future changed for Xbox because they couldn't move consoles, and this is what they have to do to make money. Yes, they're gonna make a boatload more money, 100%. But you know what's going to come at the cost of? The console.
Yeah. They had to sacrifice something, and guess what? You're going to sacrifice something. It's something that's least selling. Gamers have spoken, whether you like it or not. If gamers would have went out and bought the console, we wouldn't be having this discussion. But clearly they didn't. And even as recent as this holiday, everybody know the holiday season is where the most amount of sales come from.
Facts.
Right? Well, Sony sold 9.5 million consoles in 3 months, right? In that holiday season. Xbox didn't sell anything. The whole year they only sold 2 million consoles. And if you're listen, PlayStation sold 21 million units in all of 2024. Xbox only sold 2 million. Even if you're a diehard Xbox guy, you have to look at that and say, okay, guys, this is
the console sales are down. It's not the same.
What folks don't seem to realize is this: they always talk about Game Pass, and yes, Game Pass is great. But who's going to be buying the most ultimate tier? Only people who have the console. Well, if they don't have the console,
if they don't have the console,
why do they need the ultimate tier? They just need
exactly.
Yeah. So there's
you see, Game Pass would have worked if the consoles were selling to make Game Pass grow, but it's not, and you're dependent on the PC. But you got to realize, the supplemental money. The reason why Sony said that they don't want to trade a PC gamer, a PlayStation gamer for a PC gamer, is because they don't make that additional money. Yeah, they'll put an old game there, but if you swap a PlayStation gamer for a PC gamer, well, that PlayStation gamer, the opportunity there is to sell them a Portal, a DualSense Edge controller, a PSVR, headphones, earbuds, all the accessory that goes with that. Sell them a PlayStation Plus subscription and all of this stuff that's supplemental to that. A PC gamer, dude, he don't have to do anything. He just buy the game, $30-$40 and move on with his life without ever touching anything else. That's why, Sean Layden and Shuhei Yoshida said, yeah, the strategy with the whole going PC, it was never to swap. It's to, hey, if we can sell more games, it's to complement. Their number one focus is that PlayStation, and they won't trade that for anything else.
All they need to do, their problem right now with this is that they're waiting too long to release those games on PC. Now, initially, everyone was excited. Like, holy shit, Spider-Man, God of War, whoa! And they never expected that, so they were excited, and they went out in droves because like this was something that they never thought was possible, and they've heard so much about these games. And then after that, the excitement died down because now they're aware of these games, so they see people playing them. You know, they watch YouTube videos. They're seeing the spoilers on Twitter, on forums and stuff. And, you know, a year and a half later, the excitement dies down. It's just like a movie. If you go to the movie theater and you're watching a movie with the audience, and when the movie is fresh and you go online and you're talking on Twitter and all these places, it's a different experience than watching the movie a year later, you know, and wanting to discuss it with people. There's no one to discuss it with. So the hype kind of dies down. The word of mouth kind of dies down. And, you know, the FOMO is gone. And I think their biggest mistake why they're not making money on PC anymore is they're taking too long. Honestly,
if they go
without being objective, I think you should release your games 6 months after. I think 6 months after is enough time to release it on PC.
I agree with you.
If you don't want to do that, at the very worst, 1 year. But this a year and a half and 2 years, it's not going to cut it. And they're seeing that now with their sales because they saw the sales from Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 freaking backpacked.
You have to do apples for apples, guys. You got to stop with that. Everyone says
PC gamers don't buy
PC gamers.
Like that.
Listen, do I think
they do? They do. That's
all of those. All of those PlayStation
no.
games only sold like 100,000 copies, 200,000 copies. None of them sold millions.
Because they're old. You're not listening. If those games are coming closer to the time when they're coming on PlayStation, they're gonna sell more. If I'm being 100%, if they did it, hold on. Let me just see my point here. If they did it day and date, they would break fucking every record.
So.
No,
but the reason why they won't go day and date because Sony they don't want to take that chance and they want to segregate the market. So I think 6 months is where they would make a lot of money. PC gamers and console gamers will never be the same fucking gamers. First of all, I'm rich. I got the money to buy everything, right? But if I'm on PC and I have a higher rig or I have a mid-tier rig, I'm not looking at console.
Here's the thing,
even if I have a shittier rig than console, I'm not looking at console because I'm a separate type of gamer.
I understand
a lot of gamers by not releasing your games there.
I understand what you're saying, but unfortunately, you're saying that, and maybe a lot of people are nodding their heads agreeing with you, but hear me out for a second. There's actual data seeing what Microsoft did and going day and date. I'll let you finish your Cheetos, but it's okay. It's okay. We're only doing a show here with 500 people. Listen, my point is this. I want to say, you could say what you want, D, but the proof is in the pudding, and we saw what Microsoft did, and they actually went from the Xbox One era, which you had the DRM, and you can't share your games, and some of the Kinect forced on you. Remember all the bad things they were saying? TV. And they actually went down after putting games day and date. It destroys the console. So when you say they're not the same customer, there's something in your formula that's not correct. What it is, we don't know yet, but we have proof that it will certainly kill the console. It'll kill the console.
I think if they didn't release their stuff on PC, Xbox would have been dead a long time ago. So I completely disagree with that.
But let me
I think it's reversed, D. I think if they would have never
they were dying until they started putting their stuff on PC.
No, but if everyone, but this is a double-edged sword. If you put everything day and date on PC, then what? Aren't you sort of diminishing the value of the console itself? Like,
but I'm not saying for Sony to do that. That was the strategy that Microsoft had to do. Right, I'm not saying.
I hear you.
I just simply think not every freaking game should be day and date if they were to do it anyways. I'm just simply saying, like a game like maybe Spider-Man 3, if it came out day and date on PC and console, it would do a lot of numbers. I don't know the damage that it could do to the brand or to the console sales. I just know dollar-wise, they would make more money.
The other thing we always talk about is we had this conversation earlier today. That bag. Hold on, D. Let me finish.
My mic is way too good, man.
It's way too good.
Far away from the mic.
We can hear that bag. I feel like we're eating those. Here's the thing.
I need Doritos.
Well, maybe it's because I'm hungry, but nonetheless, D, here's the thing, though. We just got done earlier in the show saying about how storefront and where do you make your most money? The thing is right now on the console, they're going to make the most money on their first party games, which is why they're doing what they're doing, especially single player. Then you bring it over to PC. They're going to lose money to Steam there. They're going to have to give up 30%, right? So why not?
They got their own. Who are you talking about? Sony?
Yeah.
But so see, if Sony really wants to think it through,
this is a big if, by the way, because I know what you're going to say. Big if.
Because they're part owners of Epic, they can just release their shit on the Epic Store.
We know how great Epic's doing. I mean, listen.
Epic Store is good, man.
Well, you could say it's good. It's not great.
Also,
like number two.
A shit ton more of Smash Brothers if they put it on PC.
Also, to D's
right,
point,
exactly.
Like,
Wise.
If you release games day and date, like look at the way Black Myth Wukong PC sold massively better, but that's because China supported it.
That's right.
Now, a big market is China. They are all PC gamers. Consoles don't sell well over there. They all have PCs. So if you want to gain a bigger audience, and bear in mind, Steam's numbers grow every single year. They have not had a decline for like the last 15 years in numbers. It just keeps going up. More people go into Steam. So if you're going to go, well, I want all those people over there in China, your console ain't getting you there. You're going to have to take another avenue to make that money. And you have to meet the PC gamers where they are. You have to meet your customers.
They're going to do it. Day and date, I'm never going to say they're going to do it, but I'm confident that they're going to start 6 months for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Then that 6 is going to go to 3, and 3 is going to go to day and date. Watch.
But they're doing it, and they're
I get a kick. I get it. I love why
they want the money, and their new CEO, he's no joke, man. He's no joke.
Wise. The reason I have to giggle when you say that is the Xbox camp has been saying that since legitimately 2017. Any day now. Yep. Any day now. It's going to go from never to 2 years to 1 year to 6 months to half an hour.
But over the years, I don't like the rate that they're doing it at, but they have definitely cut it down. And they actually came out last year and said, it's not cutting it. We're going to have to be more aggressive on the piece. Like, they freaking said it. So a lot of people don't want it to happen. And I get it. And I'm not going to say it's ever going to be day and date. But if you think it's not going to, it's going to get shrunken down when they release these games on PC, you're kidding me, because they want money at the end of the day.
I think it took 4 years for Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, not just that.
And they said that's not cutting it. Sony themselves said this.
Where it makes sense, and they continue to say this, where it makes sense, they will. The live service stuff in a single player.
I'm not saying across the slate, but it's going to happen with more titles, and they're going to narrow down the window. I'm not going to say they're ever going to do it day and date unless it's like a live action game. But
live action game, they've already done day and date. They'll do it again.
But they are going to narrow it down 100%.
I just think that when it gets down to it, I think a year is probably where they'll stay for the lowest amount of time for a while. Never speaking absolutes, that's fine. But it's there's a when Sony wants to leave the console business, they're going to go day and date. That's as clear as it is. We said it earlier. They don't want to put an Xbox game or an Xbox logo or an Xbox anything on any of the ads, even going to the right. They don't want to do that. All their shows knock the Xbox thing right off because they want to sell their console. Yeah. Xbox is not even in competition with them right now. They're putting their games on there. They won't put the Xbox logo on anything. So what I'm saying to you is and I agree with you, D, everything you said is kind of gospel, but when they are not interested in the PlayStation console 5, 6, or 7, whatever, when that is no longer of importance to them and they're making their money completely on software and they're detaching themselves from hardware, that's when you'll see what you're talking about.
Since we're on this topic, because I actually want to do a video, it's like, people don't want to talk about this shit, so I'll just bring it up here. Now, this is something that irks me so much.
What do you got?
Xbox guys are like, Steam is coming to Xbox. Now, I'm going to address you idiots. Steam coming to Xbox is like the worst thing ever, because if Steam comes to Xbox, who the hell is going to go to the Xbox store and buy anything from the Xbox store? Everyone's going to buy everything from Steam or get the discounts or go to CD keys or whatever. That would kill Xbox's bottom dollar. Then you say, but the games are on Steam. They make money on Steam. They make 30% less on Steam because they got to give a cut to it, right? That's an issue right there of it being on an Xbox console itself, right? And then guys are like, oh, that would be the best thing because then I can play PlayStation games. Now, for one, that right there is one possibility of Sony saying, screw that, we're not putting our games on PC for these guys to have the game on the console.
Right.
So that's going to be very problematic for two reasons. One for Xbox and one for Sony.
Yeah.
And then I am hearing behind the scenes that they are looking about doing a Steam box. Nothing is set in stone. And as days go by, I don't know how I feel about that rumor. But we could see a situation. I don't know how it would work because Sony. I don't think Sony could tell Steam, "Hey, we don't want this game to be accessible on your console," because it's in the Steam store. So that would cause. Yeah, but that would cause.
Look what Apple did.
I understand, but I'm saying that would cause a strain on the relationship between Steam and Sony. So there's a lot of things where I just don't see the Steam box happening, and the Steam on the Xbox console is just the most idiotic thing ever. Because it just I at first it's like, and then I looked at all the pros and cons, and this doesn't make sense for Microsoft because they would lose money. So the only way that you're ever going to see Steam on a console is when or if Microsoft throws the towel in, says we're not going to make a console anymore, but you'll be able to play these console games on a Steam box, and they give the reins over to Steam to take over their position in the console so-called market, right? But Steam on Xbox is a horrible idea.
Yeah, can you even still call it at that point? Call it an Xbox? Because technically it's a fucking PC.
The PC.
I don't understand. This is going to be. Listen, the next Xbox that I'm hearing is supposed to be very powerful, right? And in essence, I guess these consoles kind of are like a PC because they're running the same type of architecture. They're just a lower spec PC. But for you to think that a console is going to be like a PC where you can upgrade parts and this and that defeats the whole damn purpose of a console. So that's not going to happen. And they already tried that with the original Steam box, and that didn't work out well at all, right? So forget about that. Even if Steam does come to the console market, it's going to be in a traditional console form factor or the style of it where you can't upgrade it and stuff like that.
But why would that even be available, D, when there's so many strong rumors right now going around that Steam's going to try a Steam box again?
See, like I said,
they're giving out their Steam OS. That's competes with Windows.
And see, that's the thing. People think that they said that they're going to make a new Steam box, and Xbox is talking about Steam being on the next Xbox. I don't think these are two divergent devices. I think they're the same device because of the connection that Valve has with Microsoft. I think this is your next Xbox, if you want to call it. It is a Steam box, if you will, and. Yeah, it is what it is. I think that's what it is.
Well, then that means that's the end of Xbox.
That's the end of Xbox.
Remember, I honestly don't see them teaming up because Steam, obviously coming from the PC space, for one, if they release a box, you're not going to be paying to play online. They're not going to have like an Xbox Live or a PS Plus.
Right.
No.
That's not going to happen. They're going to have a variety of other things. You'll have access to the entire Steam store, which gets the most games every week. They get.
I don't think it'd be low spec either. It'd be high spec.
I think it would be because Steam understands, like I did with the Steam Deck. Say what you will, it's a fantastic piece of hardware. Absolutely adore it. I get to play Civilization on the go. Beautiful, lovely. But the thing is, it's like if they do come, so it doesn't make sense for them to team up with Xbox because Xbox will want you to sign up to Xbox Live and Game Pass.
Absolutely.
Steam doesn't give a rat's ass about those two things.
That's it.
Yeah.
So
and
Steam wants their 30% no matter what.
Yep.
And that's counter to what Microsoft. Microsoft wants 100%. They don't want 70%.
Yeah.
So it's
funny.
Makes no
sense from a financial standpoint, man. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know. Not just that, but like there was someone had a report out that they said that the everyone thought that the new Xbox was going to come out in 2026, but they're saying that it literally just got past its
I saw this
initial pitch phase, right? So if it got past
this pissed me off. That's a lie.
There's a new Xbox coming out this year.
Listen. First of all,
a handheld and a console.
It's not. I don't like. I know who reported on it, and like I don't know where they're getting their information from, but like if you just
The secret Discord.
if you just look through the actual documentation that's out there, Microsoft has already said that they're doing a next generation console. They've come out and said it. They said it's going to be a generational leap. They announced it like last freaking year. So do not tell me that this thing just got greenlit. That's nonsense. They're way past that phase. The only phase that they could be at this point in time is, listen, are we going to go with version A of this fucking console, or are we going to go with version B? That's it. But everything else is freaking set out. Now, everything that I've heard and all the documentation that I've seen is that this console is coming out towards the end of 2026. Now, if I have my crystal ball right, I would say they would announce the console at the Game Awards this year, around the holidays. They got nothing to lose because, first of all, their console sales are garbage. So at least it would keep some people hyped. At the worst case scenario I could see is if they decided to go with some newer hardware in the console, then it could get delayed till 2027. But as far as it just got greenlit,
here's the thing. That's
all this generational leap is bullshit. Okay, all this generational leap is bullshit. Things are a generational leap if you have the software to take advantage of the technology that's in the hardware. Well, if your games are going day and day to PC, you have to spec your game to the lowest common denominator, and which is not going to be your generational leap console. So
no, it's gonna. Honestly, tell you, it is gonna be one. But is anyone gonna care about it? That's the point.
That's the thing.
Well, they promise. They've been promising the world's most powerful console for the last 2 generations. That hadn't helped them at all. So at this point,
they're gonna focus on AI and upscaling. It's gonna be very powerful. It's gonna be $800. The PlayStation 6 is gonna be freaking $800. You guys thinking, we're gonna go back to the days of them being $500? Forget about it. That's not happening. But the point is, what is the reason to own that Xbox? Because the PlayStation 6 is gonna come out shortly after it. The PlayStation 6 is going to have the PlayStation 5 games. It's going to have the PlayStation 4 games. It's going to obviously have the PlayStation 6 games. And it's also going to have the freaking Xbox games. Right? So, so they can make it as powerful as they want. But if it doesn't have any type of software to drive you to it, that's exclusive to it, that kind of forces you into the ecosystem because I cannot get this experience anywhere else, I just don't see how that thing is going to sell.
Exclusives are anti-consumer, I'm told.
Exactly. Exactly, Jay. That's my whole point is who's going to buy... I still don't know why they're offering another console. This console out right now is powerful enough in the Xbox Series X, right? And it's not selling. So you're promising a little more power, and it'll probably do like what you're talking about, D.
No, the next consoles are going to be what these freaking ones should have been.
Well, we said that when this generation started.
We
always say that. Yeah.
No, they finally made the jump of the next consoles. They made the jump to better CPUs. The GPU on the PlayStation 5 Pro is good. It's a really good GPU. It's just the CPU isn't as good as we.
But that's what happens all the time.
But the next socks, they're going to be much better. And then Sony's also messing around with the idea of doing 3D cache on their PlayStation 6.
Right.
So that would be huge, man.
But again, that doesn't answer the question though, D. You just said it yourself a moment ago. The Xbox games are going to be on the PS6, right? And the new Xbox. But PlayStation's games are going to stay on PS6 only, and PlayStation's going to lock down.
No, it could be. That's what I'm saying. It could be as powerful as it wants to be. Like I'm just saying that they will be powerful. That's all I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, I'll ride there with you. I hear you.
But I'm saying it's not going to matter at the end of the day because
their
games are going to be available on the PlayStation 6 on the competition. Why should I get it?
Like, who's buying this?
If anything, it's gonna say, I should get a damn PC. At least, I get all the other games there, and I get all the Xbox games there, and then I'll invest in a PlayStation.
If I'm an Xbox only gamer, I'm definitely going PC. I mean, I'm going PC. Period.
Yeah. See, Mooch, what Xbox are gonna do is with their next console, and we had a discussion of this in the Discord. It's gonna be more of a niche product that you just buy. If you are really, I only like to play on Xbox, buy it. And I don't think they'll sell them at a loss. They'll sell them as they are.
Definitely not selling at a loss.
Agreed. That's a good guess. That's a good estimate.
Bespoke niche products for people who actually still want to own an Xbox.
So a
and they won't
handful of
take a
people
loss
will
on
buy
It's
it.
them.
going to end up like
Yeah, a
a Surface
handful
And
of
everybody
people.
else, and everybody else will buy a PlayStation and move on with life.
Well, no, why do they
Exactly,
still
but
have,
here's the
what,
thing.
you, Mo-
They'll
ahead.
move to a pub.
Go ahead,
They'll
Dan
move
Singer.
to the. They'll move to the publisher's standpoint of just our games are everywhere and we're making the money that way. Whoever wants to own an Xbox, you can have one, and we make full price on it because we're not selling at a loss. And it'll just be a bespoke niche product, and Xbox will go full. Well, they already are full for their body, but they'd just be relying on their publishing
Mhm.
because they'll make all the money off PC,
Yeah.
off PlayStation, and then
No, I get
whatever
that.
console you sell, because it's not at a loss, you just make money off whatever you can sell and just don't worry about the numbers and just make your money from the games.
This is
It's the
what
whole
and-
Surface model. Like, why do they still make Surface?
Yeah, it's the Surface
PCs?
model.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
exactly.
PC. Like, why do they still do
Well,
that?
well,
I
you
mean,
know, they just moved it now. They're not going to sell them anymore. Only through the business side.
Mm-hmm.
Business side of
That's what
so they're
Surface.
basically getting rid of the consumer side of stuff. That is, but that's telling you everything you need to know. I'm gonna be honest. I have to question your mental stability if after 2 generations, seeing Xbox fail to deliver on their promises, that you're still hyped about yet more hardware from them after
Right.
they've given they gave up last generation, they gave up this generation like prematurely, and now the direction they're going, and now that the games there's nothing exclusive. Like, why are you still going to give them more of your money? Like, that makes no
Yeah, I don't
it's
get just
it's kind of like the frog boiling in water type situation, right?
Yeah.
You've heard of the story, right? You don't want to put a frog in a boiling hot water; it's going to jump out.
Yeah.
But if you put it in the water and slowly heat it up, it ain't ever going to know until it dies, right? So here's the same situation. They want to be third party, which is no fault on their own because they got to make money to appease me as their investor, right? So fuck it, yeah, make your money, make me money, make you.
Yeah.
But that being said, they're trying to, they're doing it, they're appeasing it, but they're slowly, when it comes out, people are going to come to that realization, well, if all these games are coming to this thing, why do I need this thing for? And they're going to slowly, make that sort of
I think Halo is going to be.
Yeah.
I honestly believe once they announce Halo, I think that's going to be the big event that just going to run all the Xbox guys away. I mean, they're still trying to hold the line. Do you remember they said it's the big 3? As long as the big 3 don't come, well, and then Forza came, and then they're like,
I'll be honest with you. They have, Jay. If you're an Xbox fan and you're an Xbox only owner, you have to be. It's just you're lucky that they are one of the richest companies in the world because no one else would make another piece of hardware dedicated to it. When they're this is them saying it, not me. They're literally giving up on that platform. They're totally pushing you to buy their stuff on PC, PlayStation, yes, Xbox as well. But the numbers, when you saw how much they went through in the Xbox One era to climb out of the hole that they put themselves in, and they were making ground. And then to see the Xbox Series X and S come out with 2 SKUs, one at $299, okay? An unbelievable price. And you are millions of consoles behind your worst generation.
Yeah.
And now we're sitting here going, well, they're just going to offer a little niche product. Listen, Sega never offered a little niche product. If Sony was swapping, they wouldn't have a little niche product.
Yeah.
There's no way in God's green earth. So this is just something, I think what Wise just said. They'll have it there. It'll probably be the taper. It'll taper off the platform. It'll just kind of bring it to where it's just where they're just going to go software and PC. And I think that's it. But I'm just shocked because if it wasn't that they were $1 trillion company and they had this money to spend, I just don't think anyone else would do that. Maybe I'm wrong.
Bobby Kotick just had they just showed the interview. He was talking about him and Satya Nadella. He said Satya, their first meeting within the first 30 minutes, he asked him, so tell me about gaming. He was like, you shouldn't be in it. You're just not looking at it from a third party perspective. You shouldn't be in gaming like that because your hardware is not where it needs to be. You're just not structured. Gamers just don't want it. But now that they're technically the world's largest publisher, they're going to do, like I said, they're going to do great numbers. They're going to make a shitload of money. They're going to provide games to everybody. They're just going to be this big conglomerate and we'll all be happy. But their console has to go away. It's
Microsoft has
Well,
they do not
they're
know-
still going to release that next console though. That's
gonna
already
release
set
it,
in
but it's gonna
stone.
be a-
They're going to
it's gonna
release
be the
it.
death knell.
But I
That's-
think
it's gonna be
that'll be the
one.
last one. Yeah.
They'll
Yeah.
just cancel it in a couple of years. I mean,
No,
a
they
year,
won't.
because
It'll run
nobody
the
will buy it.
generation, but that'll be the last
Nobody
one.
won't buy it.
No. It'll be exactly like Surface. If you notice, Microsoft are falling back into what Microsoft used to be. A software
Mhm.
company before Xbox, all they want is their software everywhere. Windows dominates the world, which it did. And Satya is very much of that street where we
He's a
want
cloud
software
guy.
to dominate
But
the
you,
world.
you guys don't
Like
understand
you
something.
look
He's a
like you
subscription
look
guy.
you look at Surface, and they sell it bespoke. You can buy it off the store if you want it, but if you don't want it, that's fine. Go buy something else. They'll put the Xbox right next to the Surface in the store. If you really want one, you can
Yeah.
buy one. If
you
you
go your own.
don't, just
Go
go.
your own.
Or
It's
just
not like
most
no
people
one's.
don't.
It's not like no one's gonna buy
That's
it.
why
But
it's going away.
but I think it'll be like a Surface. It'll just be there
But you
because it's
see,
there.
You guys
Mhm.
fundamentally do not understand the DNA of the company. The company historically has never done well with hardware. You period. Go down the list. Zune,
Yep,
Windows
Zune.
Phone. I mean,
Everything.
their cemetery
Xbox.
is riddled with stuff that failed hardwares. So
Yeah.
this is yet another failed hardware, and they've always struggled in releasing that box. The first one came out fine, the OG. The second one had the red ring of
Yeah,
death,
but-
which costed
Yeah.
them like billions of dollars because other
Yeah, $2
they
billion.
even said that on their
Yeah.
that little thing they had on YouTube
Yeah.
that if it was any other company, they would have floundered with the amount of
Yeah.
money they'd have to pay to fix that thing.
I'll say this, not to cut you off. I'll say this real quick though. The 360 was freaking peak Xbox, and if regardless of the red ring or death or not,
The management.
But
it
they
still was
did
peak.
make money.
But they had their management.
but
their management was the best.
But they had gamers' mind share, and they
Mm-hmm.
blew it all out with the stupid Series S. And I don't want to say the Series X. I want to honestly say the Series S, man.
No,
Well-
one killed it, and then carried forward with the series. When they started doing that whole TV, that was the beginning of the end of it all.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I
Shout out to
think Series S is kind of also killed it because I remember when the Series S was announced, I was like, what the hell? What are these specs? Like what are they doing here? Why are these specs like this? And then, at first, because back then I was, bleeding green, and I was like, oh, it's gonna sell the most. They're gonna move so many consoles, and I was right. It did sell a lot of consoles for them, but at the cost of inferior looking graphics, at the cost of gamers' mindshare saying, I don't want to play it on the Series S. Like it plays awful on there. It looks awful on there. The frame rate's bad on there. Yada yada yada. I'm gonna play it on the PlayStation 5, and that divide was pretty bad because in the beginning, more people were buying the Series S and the X. I think now people are. They're not selling consoles, but I think out of the ones that they're selling, I think Series X is probably selling a little bit more than the Series S right now. But at the same time,
large majority of the Xbox Series is Series
owners
S.
is S. Yes, that is correct.
But it was
yes.
serendipitous because the developers had to sort of spec for a lower PC. It sort of helped them with the whole portable initiative that came in. All the games sort of went to the portables. Very
good for them.
Because Jim Ryan told them that 2-tier model like that is not going to be successful because
Series S.
If
you want to be honest, that series fine. It's a good budget system for the budget gamers, whatever. But if we're just being real and objective here, the Series S is definitely holding back this generation of consoles for sure, because the developers have to make sure that it runs on that system. If it was no Series S, we'd have better games for sure.
Yeah, Black Myth Wukong.
If you notice, companies have fallen back into their habits. Microsoft is doing it now. They're going back to what they were, which is a software company, and that's always what they were, and they're going back to that. Nintendo's best-selling consoles were always their handhelds, the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Advance. Guess what? They made the Switch another handheld. Guess what? Nintendo's doing the best thing ever. They ain't gonna go back to regular consoles. Why should they?
They can't. They got ran out of their space. PlayStation came
not a hardware
ran them off.
Anyway,
right.
Nintendo has never been a hardware
Nintendo
developer.
are doing their lane.
Nintendo is a toy maker.
Xbox will go to their lane, and then PlayStation will just be there, and that's just the way the future of gaming is going to be. Is PlayStation on its own with the home console, Nintendo with your handheld, and then Xbox will just be a publisher.
I'll say this though, not being objective once again. That is also a terrible thing because you don't want one person to rule it all. Because PlayStation ruling it all is a bad thing.
Somebody.
So you know what's
here's
funny?
the
So
thing.
wait, so Jay, just before, and don't get me wrong, D,
Yeah.
you're not going to get me to ever. I agree with you. I think competition is king, right? But hear me out real quick. We said it earlier in this show, and I've heard it on 7,000 podcasts in the past 10 years. The PS2 era was my favorite era. Who did PS2 compete against?
I don't know. Was it Sega back then?
Was it Sega?
It
Can't
was
remember,
the,
man.
no, no,
It
it
was-
was it was the Dreamcast and
Dreamcast,
it was, the
right?
GameCube.
It was Nintendo.
Yeah,
It was
GameCube.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the
So
original Xbox.
now we're back to, hypothetically, Xbox is still here, but
Square one.
we're back
Yep.
to Sony and Nintendo again.
Yep.
But everyone's like, "It can't be. We can't do that. We did that."
Isn't
Yeah.
it kind of
I
funny
mean,
to
it's
say?
We
not
did
really
that.
back to Sony and Nintendo because
I know. I
In
understand.
their own lane.
I understand that. But Nintendo was in their own lane
Yeah.
then as well, Death Singer.
But
Yeah.
isn't
Yeah,
it
but,
kind of funny?
Nintendo being around kind of does negate them. Kind of does hold Sony to some type of standard still. So it's
Yes.
good. It's good that Nintendo's
No.
around. But it would have been ideally good for Xbox to be around too. Like
I agree.
I don't
agree.
expect Xbox to be
Listen,
number
we
one.
all
But like,
want-
be
we
close
all
number
want
two, or
Xbox to be
just
there,
be
but-
very competitive. But like when
Yeah.
you're getting outsold almost 4-1
Right.
in 3 months
Yeah.
for the whole year of what you sold.
Yeah. It's
It's freaking
D,
bad.
21 million to 2 million. That's it. Listen,
Look it.
I'm not gonna lie, right? If I go into the office tomorrow and I look at my stat sheet and it says 21 to 2, I'm closing up shop. I can't. That's just.
I'm never
you know.
listen, Jay. The other thing is, I'm never saying never, but hear me out. We've also had Google and Amazon, two of the other richest companies in the world, try to get into gaming, and they backed out.
Yeah.
So my point being is,
Yeah.
if you had Amazon and Google being like, we're gonna go do something else, okay?
Yeah.
At this point, and now Microsoft's slowly stepping away. Everyone's like, we got to have that third company. I mean, listen, I agree with you, and I want the competition. I wholeheartedly, because if someone comes out with a legitimate a third party comes out and they're making first party games and they have their own dedicated platform, yeah, I'll give it a shot for sure. But D, for at least a length of time, we're probably going back to that when it was Nintendo and Sony again for a bit.
But isn't it ironic? The one bullshit thing that happened in the Super Nintendo era, we're still dealing with the ramifications for it today.
Yep. Nintendo screws Sony, chose
I
with
know.
Toshiba, and the rest is history. Sony said, "All right, we'll do our own."
we do our own thing.
And
Yeah.
they ran them. They muscled them out of ran them out of the console space.
Yeah,
over into the
And
handheld
Nintendo
market.
came back and said, "Fuck you! We got this attack for you."
It's gonna
They
take-
flanked them basically.
It's going
Well,
to take,
they moved them out of the console space over to the handheld, where
Yeah.
that's where they thrive, right? That's where nobody. I honestly believe nobody could ever dethrone Nintendo from the handheld space because they're just the best at
No
what
one
they do.
could.
And listen, Nintendo is a
ran an
lovable.
Audible and it
they-
won. It worked for them. Nintendo ran an
even though they
Audible
do a
and it
lot of bullshit, they're still a lovable company
Mm.
because they cater to the good side of us, right? PlayStation and Nintendo is kind of like the big demons. They're the bad guys, they're the big guys. Yeah, they have the best games and stuff, but everybody kind of have a soft heart for Nintendo.
yeah.
That's kind of how it is. And now here's the thing: is it possible that somebody like Apple or somebody else could
Sure.
persuade
Apple,
Sega to jump back into the space or buy off the hardware division from Xbox, right? Buy that off and do a partnership or something with them to carry it on where Microsoft don't have to. I don't know. I'm just
Yeah, but
I think the natural successor, if it happens, is going to be the damn Steam box. To be honest with you,
they tried that before, Dean. Nobody wanted
but
it,
the
right?
reason
It
the
failed
reason the
epically.
reason why people didn't want it is because there was so many different iterations of it. You
You
could
don't want
upgrade
people too
this, you
many
couldn't
options.
upgrade that. It was horrible.
Well, isn't that what this
it
new
was-
Xbox supposed to be?
it was
It's
horrible.
supposed to be
Listen,
Lenovo
if
Xbox
the
or
Steam,
Ace 2?
listen to me, Jay. If a Steam box comes out in a
Mhm.
console form factor with
Mhm.
good freaking specs, everybody
Matter.
should be worried about that.
It wouldn't
Honestly,
matter. It wouldn't
Yeah,
matter.
The problem
You-
is-
you
you
wouldn't
say
matter.
that.
Was,
You say that.
Nobody can be PlayStation.
no, because
Nobody.
no,
No,
the
nobody
problem-
Nobody can be
can.
PlayStation or Nintendo.
Nobody's
They
saying
can't.
nobody's saying they could come in and just destroy PlayStation.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that would be a credible threat, a new threat in the marketplace. Obviously, things would take time, but if you think a competent universal Steambox would not do good, you're crazy.
The only people that know Steam, is PC guys, right?
Everybody knows Steam, Jay.
Listen, I think that Steam could become a household name in that sense, D, in the same sense of the console. But hear me out. What do they offer? Why am I going to go give Valve the $500? I think that's.
I don't know. They'd have to make the case for that, right?
Here's what they would do, right? And Death Singer said this, and I think this was a good leg up. I don't know if it's enough to steal everybody away. But also no, I didn't finish my thought. Death Singer was saying this a week ago or two, is that if Valve really wanted to compete in the space, they would have free online, right? So, right?
That's not enough to sell.
But that's not. I still don't think that's enough.
Steam games are cheaper too already.
Listen, D, hear me out for a second. Sony can drop their prices if they want to.
Yeah.
So if they really want to go,
but the thing is,
then that would be good for everybody, right? That's why Sony should have reins over everything.
Well, I understand that.
If it's good, PlayStation would try. They ain't gonna drop PS Plus, but let's say they dropped the PlayStation service because Steam was competing legitimately, and you don't have to pay for online, right? So you tell it, and the price of PS Plus, PlayStation Network will go up, right? So if you're telling someone, oh yeah, play all your games over here, pay us $100 a year, and you get to play all your games online, or you come over here, get the same games, but you ain't gotta pay any.
That's hold on. That's here's the thing.
That doesn't.
First of all, it's not as sweet as you think. For the main reason is, first of all, the majority of games being played on PlayStation and that are free to play. They're free to play games. Those you don't need PS Plus to play anyways. You could play Apex, you could play Call of Duty, FIFA. You could play all that without a multiplayer. I don't know about FIFA, but you can play that all with the other games. Fortnite, you don't need to have PS Plus. The other thing that they can do is they can say, okay, play multiplayer games for free over on PlayStation, but PS Plus Extra and Premium, that's different because that's games, right? You're getting their games. So they would charge you for that, but so my point is that, again, I think if Steam went into the space, they would definitely have room to grow, but they wouldn't kill Sony because Sony can make maneuvers quickly.
Nobody's saying they would kill them. I'm saying it would become a new.
It would be competitive.
Like a new force.
The prices would become competitive. Yes.
Okay. They wouldn't be run up the market. That's what I'm saying.
Besides bringing the console hardware itself to the market, what else is Steam offering? Because Steam don't really own any games, right?
Steam has exclusive games. Steam has exclusive games.
Name these games.
Well, there's some games that are on PC that
Valve does not
that aren't on console. Doesn't freaking matter. There's games on there that maybe you don't like, but there's games on there that aren't available on console. A lot of guys that don't want to spend the money to get a 4090 or a 5090 or whatever, but they want a good comparable a system. That Steambox would be appealing to them.
Those are PC gamers. Those are not.
It doesn't matter,
people.
but it doesn't matter. They're in the console space in a console form factor box, playing the same type of games.
But can we distinguish
outside of Sony's exclusive games?
Yeah.
All the other games that are on console are everywhere else.
Okay, so with that being said, we need to distinguish what a console is and what a PC is, right? Because you can take a piece of poop and package it with some wrapping paper. It's still a piece of poop.
What defines a console is not its hardware, because if you want to define it by its hardware, it's a fucking PC. What defines a console is its ease of use, its ease of function, its plug and play ability, where I don't have to go in there and worry about fucking drivers or fucking downloads, or system, downloads. I can update the operating system. I just put it in. I play my game. I update the game. Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe the system has an update because we get those on the consoles. Mm-hmm. It's the simplicity and ease of use and plug and play that makes a console. The form factor makes it a console. The fact that it's small, it can sit in your living room. You can hook it up to your TV and sit on your couch. That's what makes it a console, not the hardware. Like
Steam Deck. So basically,
the
a Steam Deck that can dock to your TV, right? Basically, right? How many Steam Decks have sold? How many a ROG Ally? All these handhelds. How many have they sold?
There's only a lot.
No, they sold like 6 million, 7 million.
Okay, what about the Switch?
That's not much.
The Switch is a handheld.
No. Switch is listen. The Switch
we hook it up. We hook it into the TV. and we use it as a console as well.
D, listen to me, right? I'm trying to explain the difference, and you'll probably agree with me. The Switch is made by Nintendo. Nintendo controls the software. Nintendo controls the games. They control the connectivity. They control everything from A to Z. This Steam Deck is made by Valve, right? It's basically a little mini laptop in a handheld thing, right?
No, the Steam Deck feels like a console. That's false.
Okay, call it a console. Call the Steam Deck a console, all right? But it goes back to what I said. Most people that have one generally are PC gamers, right? It's a you have to sell to you. What you're trying to do if you're gonna come in the console space, you're trying to capture console gamers. You're trying to capture Nintendo gamers and Xbox gamers. If you jump into the console,
I don't know. We're just gonna have to agree to disagree on this.
No, I'm just asking.
I just feel that if they did it right, they could compete.
And also, the Steam, I would view if they came into console space, it'd be additive to their ecosystem because they already rule PC, right? PC gaming around the world is dominated by Steam. They have that.
Yeah, by their store.
So they can so they can come into the console space and get
offer their store,
and they could get what they get from the console players. The people who will go, I really want to play on PC, but I don't want to deal with the drivers. I just want to plug in my console and play. They're the kinds of people who'll be like, oh, so I can do everything I can on Steam, but I don't have to do all the extra bullshit PC gamers go through.
Yeah.
That's a sell because then you get the best of both worlds. So Steam would meet you there. They don't have to beat PlayStation. They will just carve a nice market for themselves because Xbox is fucked up.
The thing is, though, so the real test to this is to see exactly what'll come out first here, the Steam box, or if they come out with the Steam Deck 2. Because I'm curious with all
Steam
of
the Steam box before the Steam Deck 2, man.
I think
Steam Deck 2 is
I think that's a smart move, but hear me out. The one thing that they've had the ability to update and make another what's the competitor to Steam Deck? The ROG Ally
Legion Go as well.
They came out with but that's the one I was talking about. They came out with an X that was much more powerful than the first one, right? So my point being is that Steam is already showing me that they're like, hey, listen, we make an outstanding handheld, which they did, by the way. The Steam Deck's great, but it's compared to other handhelds, it's underpowered, right? Yeah. So they're already showing me that they're not going to come out the gate with a box and blow people's doors off with power. I don't think they don't want this $800-900 machine that you said is going to go against the PS6 and the new Xbox. They don't want to do that. They're going to come out with something that's competent, this and that. And the problem with that is I went and bought the Valve docking station for my Steam Deck, and I hooked it up to the family room TV. I had that hooked up to the family room television for about 10 minutes. About 10 minutes. And then I was like, I'm not playing games like this. I am not doing that. So, listen, it's a great handheld. I actually love it. And I prefer the Steam Deck over the ROG Ally, personally, because it is just such a smooth interface UI. But if they don't show me that, because listen, every console player wants to progress with a certain amount of power moving forward. Will Valve, it's a question, it's not a statement. Will Valve prove their point? Because if it's what Death Singer said and it goes, no, they just want to make it easy and get people in there. I got news for you. If it doesn't have enough power, like hooking up your Steam, it's not going to make it.
100%, I'm confident if this thing ever sees the light of day, that it wouldn't be underpowered.
Will they subsidize the price? Will they subsidize the price? Because
they're not going to subsidize shit. Nobody's going to be subsidizing shit. That's why the next generation consoles are going to be $800.
I don't think so.
What do you mean you don't think so? Look at how much you could already see with the PlayStation 5 Pro. They're already preparing you for what the price is going to be. Now the PlayStation 6 is going to be more powerful. It's going to have better tech than the PlayStation 5 Pro, and you think it's going to cost less?
I think $700. Jay, honestly, I'll be honest. So here's the only thing, though, D. So listen, I kind of see both your points. I want to just weigh in on one and say I'm on this side, but I'm torn.
And if the rumor is true that they're doing 3D cash. Forget about it.
Okay, D, that's fine, and we can go down the tech trail, but hear me out for 2 seconds. The difference between the Pro and D, I think you were on the show last time we said this, and I think you kind of agreed. You were walking the line. is the PS6 is a new entry point into a next generation. They subsidize the cost of those things. They really want the influx of, let's say PS5 ends around the same thing, 120 million people.
Sony is done subsidizing. Microsoft is done subsidizing. They're done taking losses on hardware.
That's fine. That's fine.
With it.
Go ahead, Mooch.
That's fine. My thing is, if we're going to agree and go down that lane, then okay, I would agree with you that you're looking in the $700-800 range, because at that point they're going to want to make their money back. But depending on how married to the console, and I said this to you earlier when we were talking about day and date, it's the same thing with price. Depending on how married they are to wanting the PS6 to reach levels of higher than 120 million user base, that's where the question of bringing that price down by 100, 200. So let's just say you're right, and you said, Mooch, I guarantee you that PS6 is going to be $800. They might eat the 200 and make it a $599 console.
They're definitely not going to do that.
They might. I didn't say they will.
At the best,
I didn't say they will.
Best case scenario, they don't go 3D cash, and then they price it at $699. But it's not going to be $599. Forget it.
Well, no, I was using your example because you said 800.
It's going to be $700-800 straight up.
This is generally how it goes. You release a console, it's at its full price, call it $500, right? Or let's take last generation, right? PlayStation came out at $399. Didn't it launch? Yeah, it came out at $399, $100 cheaper than the Xbox One.
Yes, it was $399.
It came out at $399.
Yeah.
All right, and then so over time, that $399, once the Pro came out, that $399, I believe it came down to $299, and then they made the Pro when it came out $399, the same as the launch price of.
That's right. That's correct.
Right, but now, hold on, let me finish. But typically that would happen in a generation, but because the pandemic that happened, because of inflation and everything else, they were still unable to bring that price down. Like, matter of fact, the PS5 launch, they had a $399 for the digital, $399 price for that, right? And the one with the disc was $499. That was the price. Today, right now, the PS5 has only went down $50.
Yep.
And that's because of inflation. That's because everything. It's stuff that's happening in the world. It keeps them from bringing that price down. You don't think right now it's like halftime, right? In the generation, they would love to be able to bring that price down to $299, so more gamers can buy in it, so more people can subscribe to the services and buy all the stuff, right? They would love to do that, but they won't be able to do that until certain factors happen, until manufacturing gets cheaper, till the chips get cheaper where they can shrink it, and so they're trying. Even the holiday season, sometimes they run deals for like $349 and stuff like that. So they're trying, but I honestly believe by the time the PS6 generation come, the price of that PS5 should be able to get down into the $300 range. That way, they're able to bring that PS5 Pro down to the. You know, it's what, $590? How much is the PS5?
Yeah,
the Pro is $700.
Okay, $700, right? They should be able to bring it down to $600, and maybe by the end of the generation, maybe $500, right? So next generation, when the PS6 come out, maybe they'll be able to get. Because here's the thing, back to Mooch's point. The goal is to get as many people as possible to buy the hardware so they can do the games.
I understand what you're saying.
If the price is high, less people are going to buy the console.
I get it. I get it. But honest to tell you, you want a console that performs good. You know, you're going to have to get better hardware. That's why. And as the generations have been going on, we've been getting better and better hardware. Now the problem is with TSMC, for the wafers, for all that stuff. They're not getting cheaper. They're going up. They're higher. They're switching to 4 nanometer, 3 nanometer nodes. You know, it's not getting cheaper. The demand for it is higher. Apple wants some shit. Samsung wants some shit. You know, Google wants some shit. Nvidia wants some shit. AMD wants some shit. So it is what it is, man. It's not. So they
have to if they want a lot of people to buy their consoles.
No, that's bullshit. A PlayStation 6 comes out and it's freaking showing you unicorns and all kinds of crazy shit. What do you mean? People are buying the PS5 Pro now. What do you mean you don't mean? They will buy it.
People are screaming about the price of eggs, and we use it in everything.
Yeah, and people are buying $1,200 freaking phones. I'm sorry, bro, but it's,
no,
it is
they're
what it is.
subsidized. No, you kidding me? AT&T, Verizon,
Yes.
walk in the store, say hi,
Yes.
get an iPhone 16. They're not paying. They're paying.
I know most of my friends these days, to be honest with you, most of us, we don't subsidize our phones
But
anymore.
D, we're the
We
one
buy our
percenters.
phones.
Yeah,
we're
but
the,
D,
we're
D,
the,
we
we're the
can't-
hardcore.
We
The
can't,
massive
we
amount of
can't
people.
listen to the small in the community that you're listening to.
Okay,
we
fair,
talk
fair,
too
okay,
much
fair enough.
to
Maybe
that.
that maybe that's a bad example. But as far as the process nodes and the cost of the
I hear
wafers
you.
and the cost of these transistors and everything, I'm sorry,
expensive.
it's not coming down. Do you see the prices of freaking NVIDIA GPUs?
I hear
Do you
you.
see
We
the
agree.
prices of
I hear
NVIDIA
you.
GPUs,
We
of
agree with you.
CPUs?
I hear you.
This is
Yeah,
the
we agree
cost.
with you.
Do you think it's going to change in 2 years? It's not.
D,
No, what
literally,
we're saying is
me
the
and
company
Jay
is going to have to
Ru-
eat the money.
They're not
in
going
order
to eat it.
Listen,
they are not
D,
going to eat it.
D,
Man,
hear me out
because
for a
gamers
second.
will buy it. So why isn't Nvidia eating it? They're not eating it. There's cards.
Because they don't have to. Because they make
because they're the
high-end
leader.
cards.
Sony
No,
is the
they
leader.
don't-
They won't have to eat it. They will not have to eat it.
NVIDIA is different, right? You got to think about
How
it,
are they
right?
different? They're the market leader in their field. Sony is the market leader in their field. There's no Sony and Nvidia are no different except one rules console, one rules PC.
D, that's not how it works. I mean, I don't know
What do
how
you
to
mean not how
explain
it works? They both use the same type of hardware. They both use wafers. They're both in the same type of business of creating socks or creating graphic, displays. What are you talking about?
It's
like,
not. It's
D,
really.
D,
It's
D,
not
there's
apples
only a
to
handful
apples
of
there.
people in every generation that buy the high-end cards. Steam tells you the average cards are generally the lowest end cards. It's not you. You think that everybody has a 4090 and a 4080 and they don't.
How much do their freaking low end cards cost? Do you know how much
Like-
a 5070 is? A 5070 is like
That's a new card. That's a new card. Use the 40.
but it's going to be the new card for the next 2 fucking years.
But D, you got to think about it, right? You're
Even their
talking
old cards, they're still expensive. They don't
D.
get cheaper.
Let me ask you a question. How many 4090s do you think Nvidia has sold? Just throw a number out there.
It doesn't matter about the 4090. My point is that the technology that is in these graphic cards, that are in these socks,
It doesn't matter what's in there.
It's expensive
I get it.
across the
But you gotta-
board. So
but
some
D,
of it's $3,000 and
it's-
some of it's $600. But that $600
D.
price point is still expensive for that hardware.
Sony, Nintendo, none of these console manufacturers, not even Microsoft, can afford to not subsidize these things and expect to.
Do you know
sell
that the
hundreds
PlayStation
of
5?
millions.
You know that the PlayStation 5 is not subsidized. You know that? You know they're
The
making
PS5,
profit. They've been making
know.
profit for a
after 6
long
months,
time.
After 6 months, it became profitable. Yes, we know that, but the price
So there
is
could not
still
have been some big
subsidized up front.
They cut
Everybody.
did you see the break?
Phil Spencer said they lose $100 to $200 on each console sold.
Yes,
Phil Spencer said that himself.
because they went with the better hardware and it didn't pay off.
D,
and
did you
Sony went
see-
with the lesser hardware
generation.
and they
did you
got better
see?
performance.
I don't know if it was copper or what it was, but did you see the breakdown from the new SKU, the PS5? They cut the heat sink down to like a quarter.
Yes.
My
To
point,
save
that
money.
was expensive.
Yes.
So they were losing money at first, and now they're making money and they'll do the same thing in the PS6 era as those components become cheaper.
Listen, we're gonna disagree here. I just don't think the next consoles will not be subsidized.
I'm not even listen, D. From a business standpoint, I credit you from where you're coming from. I hear you, but also remember something. The NVIDIA example you're using. Shout out to someone in the chat who just said it. I'll give him credit in a second. NVIDIA doesn't have a game store that they want you to go buy either 100% first party or make 70% on another deal.
I get it.
PlayStation
will
will make
at the same time.
Plus D.
I'm telling you what they're paying for this hardware. They're not going to subsidize the next. They're just not going to do it, man.
Listen from a business standpoint.
They'll
I
build
see
it
your
and
point.
spec it out so that they can make the money that they can make. Maybe they'll cut their corners where they have to cut their corners. Like I said, maybe they won't go 3D cash. They'll say like, you know what, this is gonna add another $100 to the console. Then we're gonna have to sell this for like $800. So maybe we shouldn't go 3D cash. Maybe we should.
It's gonna be listen.
Go. Maybe we'll cut here on the GPU a little bit here. But I'm telling you, the next consoles, even if they come in at a $700 price, even if they come in at a $680 price, it's not going to be subsidized.
Well, listen, it's gonna be interesting. Listen, like you said, I don't want to go round and round because I see where you're coming from, D. And if that really is the business motto, okay, deep down within SIE and Microsoft's feeling that way, then that's the way it is. But you're not gonna see numbers in the 120 to 150 million sold range at $800 to $1,000.
You're lucky to see 40 million.
It depends on what. It depends on what they show. It depends on a lot of things. It depends on the graphic capabilities.
Again, D,
what is
listen
that
to me.
system?
D, listen to me.
You say that
D,
now, but if they
D,
show you
doesn't
something,
the things that you're,
they can shove a 5090 in
Buddy.
there. It doesn't matter. Majority of people are not spending that money on the masses that they need.
You're talking.
Listen, this is what I see just based off of all the documentation and all the stuff that I read behind the scenes and the stuff that I know from people. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure what Microsoft, if they're going to still have a 2 console solution. I can't speak on that. But Sony, I'm pretty sure they're going to have a PlayStation 6 that's let's say between $700 and $800. And if you don't want to spend that type of money and you want something that's a little bit more affordable and you want into their ecosystem and you can buy their stuff and enjoy their stuff, they're going to have the handheld for you.
Nah, they ain't. Nah, you can't.
They're definitely doing a handheld. I've seen.
There's two. I believe they'll do a handheld.
I've seen it. There's 2 chips. There's actually 2 PlayStation 6 chips.
Listen, I agree with you, D. I'm with you 100% on the tech. What I'm saying is, you need the massive amount of numbers. You can't get. Do you know how the reason the PS2 was able to sell 160 million is because the generation ran long. It's because the price went all the way down to $99. You could pick up majority of the gamers bought it, like the sales picked up humongously once that price dropped down to $199, and then once it hit $99,
and the same thing's gonna happen again. They're gonna release closer to the PlayStation 6 launch. The PlayStation 5 is going to drop in price. The PlayStation 5 Pro is going to drop in price, and then they're going to release the PlayStation 6. And if it's not affordable for you, you can get the PlayStation 5. You can get the PlayStation 5 Pro. You can get their handheld.
Jay, I was going to say Donnie D. I was going to say D's doing a Donnie D. That was awesome. Donnie D was like, "We got a console for you. It's called the 360." Yeah, that was great.
Listen, if you want good performance out of the PlayStation 6. And you want it to be better than what is offered in the PlayStation 5, you're going to be paying more for it. Number 2, rasterization, like it's not getting much better. Like if we're looking
it's all AI.
at the 5000 series, apart from the 5090, the other ones are like 7% better, 10% better than the previous generation. It's only like the 5090 that gives you like a 30% uptick. So that should tell you right there that there's only so far we can go. Now, if we also base it on what Cerny said, he said, listen, there's not much more that can be done in rasterization. The improvement comes from AI and this and that. So you're going to need all of that hardware in there. That is going to cost money.
Listen,
so,
again,
I don't know what to say to you guys.
The tech and what you're saying.
You're thinking that they're going to subsidize it down to
we're
$600
for
all of this tech in the PlayStation 6.
Microsoft and Sony are going to have to cough up $200 of their own and subsidize that to get.
They're not doing it, man. They're not doing it.
There's other ways they can make.
They're not going to be as worried because they're going to have 100 million people at that time that own a PlayStation 5. How many ever that own a PlayStation 4? And people are going to move over to PlayStation 5
right now. Nobody's moving over to.
It'll be like how it is this generation. How many people are still on damn PlayStation 4?
Right.
A lot, bro.
Right. And there'll be a hell of a lot more.
You're kind of proving our point.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Just like this generation. People will start migrating over the PlayStation 6. It'll do good numbers.
Once the
PlayStation 5 guys will eventually merge over. It'll rinse and repeat.
Brother, listen to me. We're 4 years into this generation. We're halfway point right now. And we're still trying to get people to get off of the PS4.
And what's going to do it?
And listen, in order to do that, you got to bring that price down. It can't be $450 as it is now.
You know what's going to do it? A game that is not available, a generational game. That GTA is going to bring
that'll help.
Yes,
that'll help. But you know what?
It's not going to help. It's going to boost it.
Not everybody has unlimited pockets like a lot of people. Is what I'm saying.
But the price of the PlayStation 5 is going to come down holiday season. It's going to be a little bit cheaper.
A little bit. Okay, here's the conversation, D. The Pro is $699.
That's the thing.
And what?
Jay, you
Pro's
cut out.
selling pretty well.
No, Jay cut out. I don't know if he lost.
The Pro is selling pretty well.
The thing about it, but D,
even much better than
Jay, you
Sony
cut out.
it to sell.
But okay. So here's the thing with the Pro, they already said no more than like 20% of gamers of the PS5.
They're already
fan
exceeding
base.
their numbers, though. They're already exceeding those numbers.
Okay. Well, I mean,
here's the thing, though. I don't see where we're. I don't see. Listen, I don't see where GTA 6. We're talking about PS6. Like the GTA, if they fine, they're going to bring the base PS5 down a little bit. As a matter of fact, if it's going to sell consoles, it's probably going to stay the same price. I don't know if that'll even move the needle as far as the sale price. I'm talking about 4 years from now or 3 years from now, a year before the PS6 launches. Yes, then you'll see the Pro and the base PS5 come down drastically.
When do you think the PlayStation 6 is coming out?
2028?
28?
Maybe
It's coming out. You guys are not even up to date. It's coming out in 2027. It's not coming out in 2028. The chip, their design. Hold on, they're just because I look at all this stuff in chip hell, right? Their chip design is already done. So now they're in the process, and it takes about a year to tap it out, and then that's it. Then I guess they do the testing phase, and then they release it the following year.
All right. Well, listen.
So it's on a trajectory to come out in 2027, not 2028.
Listen, D, I'm okay with 2027. By the way, you're not going to hear me complain about that. But at the same time, because you guys know, listen, I get a lot of people that write me all the time. I say Moochonomics. Whenever you go to get that new console, I'm hoping you get a good trade-in price. And if you have a Pro, you'll probably even get a little bit more. So that's fine, D. I'm always for more better, better tech, sure. But the only reason I threw 2028, and I think Jay did the same thing, was they just had the nerve to sell a $699 PS5 Pro a few months ago. So now you're telling me that in 2.5 years, 3 years max, they're gonna throw us.
When did the let's go back in history to see how they've done it. I don't know the numbers on this, so you guys.
4 years. The Pro came out within the fourth year, and then
hold on.
And then when did the PlayStation 5 come out after that?
The 5 came out in November 2020.
Was it three?
November. It was November 2020 for the 5, and I'm looking up PS4 Pro release date.
That generation lasts what, 6 years?
The PS4 Pro release date was November 10th, 2016.
Okay.
So 2016 to 2020.
Yeah.
So that's like 4 years.
Yeah.
4 years.
So
halfway point. That's why we say halfway point.
That's why I said 28.
So this would.
But you had COVID.
This would be 3 years. So that wouldn't be that far off.
It's not. It's not insane. No.
A company wants to They want to get their steam. They want to maximize that console out and their profits and everything else before they move to another generation. They don't want to prematurely just move. Look at Nintendo. They could have been let the Switch 2 release. That thing been ready, but they wanted to squeeze every last drop out of it.
Yeah.
So when they launched the Switch 2, there was nothing else to be had.
Yeah. Well, that 2028 that's not happening because Xbox is coming out definitely before 2028.
Xbox is a non-factor right now, as far as console gaming.
You know what though? At the same time,
they could come out with a new next generation console tomorrow. Nobody would care.
Doesn't matter. Sony ain't gonna give Xbox a 2-year chance at anything.
If Xbox does 26, I'll ride with you, DJ. You know what? I'll say that they probably don't want to give them a 2-year leg up. I'll give you that. Yeah. But that's if Xbox responds in 26. Listen. When does Xbox need to show? They could go. No, you're saying no. They could go late November. November 26th.
Put out a console, we would have the specs already.
What?
No, Jay, not necessarily. It's early 25, so we may not see anything from Xbox till the Game Awards or something like that.
What'd you say, Jay?
That the new Xbox console or handheld was supposed to come out next year. This 2025 now. I said we would already have like the leak, the specs, and everything else right now. And from what I understand, we do have some of the leaks. We just don't have all of the specs. We have some of the leaks. What's the specs?
We have some. What are they? From what we heard, it's basically going to be AI driven, and that right now they're in the stage. They're going to be doing the latest AMD, so they're going to be doing 9000 series in it, or we don't know which one because the report says that Sony is debating and thinking of going with 3D cache. And Microsoft is not sure if they want to follow suit. And I'll say this, if Microsoft does follow suit and they want to have 3D cache in their Xbox console, that would move their date. And that would move them out of 2026 because those 3D cache socks, they're not going to be ready till 2027.
Okay.
Listen, like I said, I guess the late 2027 would be the earliest. I just think that it depends. Again, it depends on the competition, how things move. But I would say if Microsoft doesn't move the needle to 26, I think 28 is what we're looking at. And D, again, I see your point.
I've been wrong before, Mooch. I've been wrong before because I'm gonna be honest. I didn't think that we would have a Pro. Yeah. I was wrong on that, and I always say when I'm wrong. I was like, I did not think we would have a mid-gen refresh this generation, but we have it, at least for the PlayStation side. So
and who was screaming that for years? Who was screaming that for years? Yeah,
D's gonna get some flowers.
Yeah,
D probably was. I didn't I didn't bet you, D, but I bet somebody else.
I was screaming that for years. My RDX buddies would rip me apart on the show. What are you talking about? That's never coming out. It's a bunch of nonsense.
It could be. I like I'm saying. It's just
2028 for the next generation consoles to come out with the way how fast tech is moving. Like 2 years ago, we had the 4000 series. 2 years later, we have the 5000 series. 2 years ago, we had AMD RDNA 3. Now we have RDNA 4. Like it's moving at a high rate of speed, and it's going towards.
I was looking at it not from a tech
AI
standpoint. I wasn't looking at it from a tech standpoint, right? I'm looking at it from a logistical and a financial standpoint from these companies selling these cheap consoles, right? Because these are cheap PCs. And it has to be feasible for them. It has to be ready for the market, and you have to get butts in the seat. You have to get people to go out and buy in massive numbers, not like
the gamers. The gamers,
you and I buy all the high-end PC stuff, right? We always buy the high-end PC stuff. That's what we do. But we understand that we're just 1% of the total market.
But I understand gamers though, and gamers are very, very fickle, man. And gamers, if you show them something that captivates them, that's it. They cannot overcome that FOMO. And
again,
these next generation systems are going to have to, and I'm going to bet they're going to offer something that's really different.
We have great interactions in the community, and there's definitely people that you say, okay, I had somebody that said I'm dead staunch against it. I showed them the capabilities, and they went and bought it. And again, I do reemphasize the word our community or in the gaming community. That is something that is feasible, and I can put my mind around that. But I can tell you right now that. We know people, we all know our respected people, colleagues, friends, neighbors, okay? And I'm sure everyone's friends, neighbors, colleagues are doing very, very well. Good for them. But there's no way that I'd ever be able to tell a colleague, friend, peer that they're gonna that plays NBA 2K, Madden, and Warzone that they need to go out because Sony's not going to subsidize. It's $850. I'm just telling you, that's where we lose the conversation.
So then what happened when the guys that were on PlayStation 4, when the PlayStation 5 came out? It's the same thing. It's the same thing, man.
Yeah, but you're talking about $100 difference. Now you're going from that person that bought a $500 PS5 to $800-900. You said that's not the same thing.
But you have to look. I get it. So maybe that generation they're not going to sell as much in the beginning. But I'm telling you, that's the future.
Tell the investors that. Like I don't think that's going to go over very well.
They're still going to have the PlayStation 5 base. They're still going to have the PlayStation 4 base. They're still going to be able to move their units there. They're not going to be selling these consoles at a loss. So when they do sell these consoles, they're going to make money on it.
Allow me to just put a caveat in that. So I agree with what you just said. They'll still have some of the people on PS4 making the money, PS5 making the money. If they're able to make the dividends there, they should be able to subsidize the cost by $100, $150, $200.
Why would they subsidize the cost? Each console that they sell, they would be making money on it.
They want more people that own the console. The cheaper it is, the more people buy, and then that means more people will subscribe to the service. More people buy the headphones and everything. It's a ripple effect. At
the very worst, maybe Microsoft would do that for their desperation. I just don't see Sony doing that. And from what I've heard from behind the scenes, Microsoft, they don't want to be taking no loss on the next generation console either.
I think we could go and poll 100 business owners out of 100, and they would also like to not lose anything. But even the grocery store loses some money on the milk. You know what I mean? The lost leader. Liquor stores do it with cheap vodka.
What indication do you have with Sony being the market leader already releasing a console that's $700, to think that they would not release their next generation console that is substantially more powerful and will offer more things and better benefits for the same $700. Why do you guys think it's going to go back to the days of it being cheaper when it costs them a lot more? The subsidization is not going to make up for it.
The simple answer to that,
more money.
The simple answer to that was if I had 2 columns and I can show you how many Pros they sold last year and how many PS5
exactly
ones they showed. If they
20,
had
20,
only the number,
the Pro is not forced.
They sold 20.1
yeah, but you're saying the
year.
PS6 will be forced, and it'll be more expensive.
The PlayStation 6 is going to offer a substantial difference
doesn't matter
over the PlayStation 5.
The hardware
so
doesn't matter.
Pay for it or, I don't know, man. I guess we can argue this to the cows come home because we're not going to know until it happens.
I hear you.
Them doing that, man.
I from a business sense, I like where your head's at. Just from a customer stand base, I'm telling you right now. Can't you just see? Can't you see IGN?
They don't care about you that much. They want the money.
I understand. No, I understand that. Believe me, I'm the first one in line that understands that. But can you just imagine? Do me a favor, whether it's right now or after the show or tonight or in the morning when you're brushing your teeth, just ask yourself this question: How much IGN will love that headline?
Oh,
Sony's crazy. They've lost their minds. $1,000.
I didn't say $1,000. I
said $800, $700, $800.
That's a big difference. That's not $1,000. That's not a Gino.
They lost their minds at the $700 Pro. Everybody did.
$700.
And then it won't come with a disc drive. Remember
why they lost their minds on the PlayStation 5 Pro? Because they didn't upgrade the CPU 2. I guarantee you.
If they had
disc drive, the CPU 2 on it, nobody would have batted an eye at that fucking $700 price point.
I wish it was that, but they actually batted an eye and got mad that it had no disk drive. And you had to pay extra for the vertical stand.
No stand.
Right?
No stand.
That's what they got mad at.
That's what Sony had to do to get the price down to make it affordable for you to want to purchase it.
So wait a minute. Wait, D, let's do this. Me and you, we're going to join Sony's marketing.
Why did they subsidize the PlayStation 5 Pro?
PS6, $800, $799 out the door. And if you guys wanted it, we gave it to you. Your own $4 vertical stand.
You're trying to tell me that gamers
knew it wouldn't. It's not going to sell the massive amounts of numbers that it needs to be for that. They know they say it's 20%. It'll only ever sell. They projected it to only sell. The same with the
D. I'm not even D. I'm not really.
So you're and you know what? And they said it's selling even better than they expected. But you're telling me
that in
2027, you're telling me in 2027,
I agree.
Sony announces a PlayStation 6. $700, $699 option. Okay. It has 3D cache on it, right? So you're gonna be getting blazing fast frame rates. No, forget about 30 FPS. That ain't happening with 3D cache, right? You're gonna have a GPU that's comparable to a 4080 Super. All right. They're gonna offer you some cool new functionality with the freaking controller, freaking smell-o-vision we're hearing they're working on. You know, you're gonna be driving in Grand Theft Auto, you're gonna be driving through the freaking farmlands, and you're gonna smell the manure. All right, all right. They're gonna have some camera.
He's doing a great job.
On the controller.
Yeah,
they're gonna have some camera on the controller.
Right.
That you can see your people in real time and have face chat or see information from the damn game, whatever, the map, whatever. All right. Yeah. And they offer you that for $700. You think gamers would have a problem? They'd be like, oh, that's too expensive. No, you have to make it worth $700.
So 700 has been introduced. So I'm not saying, but you indeed, that's fine. I maybe my ears were wrong. I thought you were in the 800-900 range.
No.
If you want to say,
that's what it sounded like.
Yeah, that's where you were originally going.
I said 800, but I said they could also do $700 by making some cuts somewhere here, you know.
If it's $700, I mean, listen, that's
$699. I may be with you. But D, you did make it seem like it was pushing them $1,000.
You were going up. You were going up.
That's why we've been arguing, because it's like
I said $800, and afterwards through our conversation, I said, you know what, they can make some cuts here and there, maybe not go with 3D cache, whatever, and price it at $700, whatever. I don't know.
Listen. Here's the thing about it. Sony would never say the word $700. They would say $699,
whatever.
So but visually in the mind, because it's a hard sale once you see 7. Yeah. It's like, oh my god.
But if the value is there,
Listen.
and the capabilities are there, and it's $699. I'm sorry, man.
Mooch,
2
there's
years
a
from
lot
now,
of women
I don't
that
think a
can
lot
show
of
you a
people
good time that has a lot of value, but man, you can't afford
tell
them,
you,
brother.
man.
I'm telling you,
That's-
like it's.
But I don't know why people think consoles are going to be cheaper than $699 next gen. The next Phil even said it. He's like in one of his interviews, he's
because
like,
he gave up.
He was
Because he gave
because
up.
he knows the price of what these consoles are going to be. He's like, listen, we're not, people aren't going to be making tons of money, selling $800
But that's
consoles.
because
not what
he's not selling 100 million plus consoles.
Yeah,
He's
but
not
he
willing
also
to do that.
also sees what's available in the pipeline from AMD, my friend.
Well,
That's
listen,
my
like I
point.
said, we can speculate forever, and I think it's a great. I think it's a great conversation. And again, don't leave this conversation thinking, "Wow, I just left and it was Mooch and Jay versus me." It's not.
No, I don't
It's
care.
not.
You
It's
can-
not.
I'm
not saying that
everyone
you're
can have
wrong.
their opinion. There's no right or wrong. It's just our opinions because we don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Listen, let's put it this way. D, even if yours makes complete sense, which again, from the business standpoint and parts and components and technology, AI, R&D, everything you said makes perfect sense. I'm just saying, let's hope for all of us and everybody listening that it is subsidized slightly, because I do think $800 may be a bit of a sticker shock for especially the casual gamer. I don't see that move for a very long time.
If that's
Mooch,
the case,
what about
then they better do
tariffs
everything in
and
their power.
inflation and stuff like that? That becomes a whole different ballgame.
That's another.
Yeah, they
it's
better
true.
do
That's
everything
true.
in their power then
That's true.
to get it down to a $699 price point. But I
Yeah,
just do not see it cheaper than
$699.
that.
I will say this much, Jay, just to end the conversation because it's almost 4 hours. Hear me out, though, guys. I will say this.
You're lying, right? I meant to just stay an hour.
I know.
Do you do this to
I
me
always get you, D. Yes, I still got it after 10 plus years. Listen, D, here's the thing, though. I will say this. Sony has, I don't want to use the word soften the blow. I don't think it's softened the blow at all. But they've now introduced that 700 number. Jay, the one thing you do have to say is once something is introduced, okay,
you can't go back.
they
You can't
usually
put it back
don't.
up.
They're not going to go back. So D making a $699.99 case, D, as we creep closer and closer, I'm okay signing
deal with
on to
that.
that. I can see.
deal with
Well, wait.
that.
It's not that I want to spend that. By the way, audience, don't misinterpret that. I don't want to spend that, but I can say to you this
I'd
much.
want to spend $200, please.
But
I would love it.
but let's also call a spade a spade.
It was
here.
the
I
$8.99
bought Jay.
that was-
Jay,
yeah.
me and you, we bought Indeed as well. I bought the Pro here. You might go, well, Mooch, you did spend $699. I did, but I also got $330 credit for my day one PS5 physical edition PS5. Listen, if this Pro,
I sold mine too.
D, if the next
Oh, your
one,
PlayStation 5. Get a
so
PlayStation 6.
if it's $700, the new one is $700, and I can get $400 for my Pro. Listen, I'm gonna be all right with that.
Yeah, they're gonna have trade-ins. You're gonna be able to sell. You're gonna be able to sell your thing. You're gonna be able to use Affirm and pay it over 5 payments. Don't worry, there'll be options.
Hey,
listen.
I mean, I'll be honest. Even if the price was high like that, at least that would let us know we got some powerful tech in there, and it's not really going to be gimp. And I understand that. It's
Sony
just
ain't
that-
gonna gimp this next console for sure. Listen, Sony. The beginning of the generation, and I have to apologize to Mark Cerny because I freaking clowned him. I clowned him so hard at that reveal when the specs were announced, and I was laughing. I was like, "Oh my god, it's so worse compared to the Xbox Series X." And look how that worked out. On paper, it's worse, but it performs better.
Performance, yep.
Look at that, guys. Listen, I'm not going to lie to you. 3 hours and 30 minutes. The great D Batch here, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and write that down as one of my accomplishments on YouTube. I'm not sure if I'll get an award or a pendant for that, but I deserve it. Listen, what a great show we had tonight, man. I got to tell you.
I hope I didn't piss off the chat. Sorry, guys.
Well, listen, that's part of the show, right? That's just part of the show. Speaking of that,
at me. Shut up, D.
well, listen, D.
Why do you have him on? He's still a bot. I can feel it.
No, D. Honestly, I love it when you're on the show, buddy. I was just telling a couple people in the chat. I've known D a very long time, as well as Jay. These are great guys here, and the fact that they come out and spend time on the show and just make it this entertaining with amazing conversation, and they bring a lot of experience. They game, they deep dive into technical stuff and different game reviews. Listen, it's priceless. So please do hit the like button, guys. I'll go in reverse order here and say, J-Dub, thanks for being here tonight, buddy. I got a hold of you. I said, Jay, you in the mood? We had a lot going on this week. He goes, sign me up, Mooch. So I can't say thank you enough, Jay. Let people know where they can find you. And you also did a show late last night, which was fantastic.
Yeah, I did. You guys can find me on Twitter at JWCity16. Listen, man, when I saw the roster, I saw my Canadian brother D here. I said, "Yep, I got to come on there. I got to get hear what he got to say about the stuff." And listen, when you're talking about tech and you're talking about gaming, dude, we can talk for hours. I mean, we just lose so much time. And I was fortunate enough to be able to fly to Canada and actually meet D in real life, and we hung out and stuff like that. And the guy's great. Go and subscribe to his channel, man. He is the tech guy. You know what I'm saying? He's where I get all my tech news and latest insider stuff. He helps you get video cards and pros. He has all the insider stuff and stuff like that. But yeah, you guys can find me at JWCity16, and I do, I go live every now and then on my YouTube channel, JW4U. So go check that out. And Mooch, as usual, brother, it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Jay, great to have you here. D-Batch, let everybody know where they can catch up with you. I know you're doing a lot of videos. Your rate of video output it's got to be at least 1,000% over where it used to be. I'm catching you put out a video. You have at least 2 or 3 a week, dude. So I don't know.
Yeah, I took a break last week, but sorry, let you finish. Sorry.
No, go ahead, D. Let people know where they can find you. As always, listen, I did not mean to keep you here 3.5 hours, but I love it when I can get a hold of you and you go, Mooch, listen, when you said you could make it, and you said, I don't know if I can stay the whole time. I'm like, well, but D, if it's a good show and I do my job, D's going to stick around. So, D, let people know where they can find you. Thanks for being here tonight.
Yeah, man. So I haven't made a video I think 6 days, but I do have a video, and out of respect for the podcast, I waited. So I haven't launched it yet. I'm going to launch it after I get off air here. So you guys can check me out on YouTube at D_batch. And of course you can, that's on Twitter. On X, D_batch. And on YouTube, you can catch me at D_batch. And I'll be dropping a video where we'll talk about the PlayStation 5 and the 75 million sales. We'll talk about some AMD stuff, some NVIDIA stuff, some gaming stuff, Xbox stuff. Yeah. That's coming up right after the show. Thanks for having me on, Mooch. It's always a blast. And Jay, you're my guy. And I got to say, Jay, when I met Jay for the first time in Toronto, back then I was rocking Xbox still. So he was like the ops. So he was like the guy trolling me every single day. Yes, and I want to say something. At the end of the day, we can have differences of opinion. You can like Xbox, you can like PlayStation, PC, Switch, whatever. At the end of the day, we're all still gamers. Please don't take this stuff too seriously.
Yes.
Because, if I were ever to take this stuff too seriously, I would never have met Jay. Jay's been open to meeting Jay. Jay's a wonderful guy in the community. Yeah, I know he trolls the hell out of you Xbox guys, but at the end of the day, it's having fun, and life is short. Have fun, man. Mooch I've known for years. Mooch has always been on the PlayStation guy, right? So I was
not really, but
okay, yeah, but yeah, true. But you know what I mean, man. But Mooch, Mooch has always had a different opinion when I was on the Xbox side.
That's right.
And we've always been able to do shows together. I come on the show, and I was always shown respect and courtesy. So at the end of the day, guys, the console war stuff, it's dead, to be honest with you, but I do get it. It is fun to troll people, but at the end of the day, don't take it too serious, man. Have fun, enjoy games, and enjoy the games wherever the hell you want to play them.
No,
thanks for having me on, Mooch.
Honestly, great. Well put, D. I couldn't have said it better myself. Outstanding, D. Also, same thing. I won't take the audience's time too much, but same thing with Jay. Jay came in, and shout out to Luca, the Ashen Luca. I was gaming with Luca and all day and crap, and Jay jumped in our party chat, and I was like, man, me and Jay always going back trolling each other, didn't hang out the time. Yep. And I'll tell you something, Jay. I got to tip my cap to you, man. You came into the chat. I listened to you. You were like just a man of honor, man. I after you were like, "Hey guys, enjoy the rest of your game. I'll catch up with you later." You bounced, and I said to Luca, I said, dude, I wish I knew Jay earlier. I said that was a great conversation. She's like, Jay's one of the best, and I said from that point on, I was like, I'm reaching out to Jay, and awesome. So shout out to you, Jay, for coming into the party. And that was a long time ago. So I'm lucky I didn't lose. I didn't lose too much time.
Listen. Y'all know my trolling is like on level 20, right? So
20.
And I always, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
20.
But listen, everybody that from everybody, all of them. At one point, they had me blocked because I would wake up early in the morning, troll them, and then But eventually, once we got in party chats and stuff like that, and they realized I wasn't the character that I play on Twitter.
That's right.
Then they realized it was just it's a character I play. I'm a troll character on Twitter, or whatever. But I'm a regular guy. They see game. Mooch, you can tell them. It was me, you, Crap, and maybe somebody else. Dude, when State of Decay 2 came out,
that's
we
what
were
it was.
Playing that. We were falling through floors and doing all the glitches.
That was
PUBG,
you. Yeah,
PUBG on the Xbox One X, at 15 frames. We were all playing it, and so what I say on Twitter is for entertainment and stuff.
That's
but
right.
I game on the back end, and it doesn't matter what platform.
Listen, and that's the other thing too. I've reached out to D for tech talk recommendations on whether it doesn't matter. It could even be like XLR cables. It could be consoles. It could be circuit cards. It could be CPUs. I've talked to D. J-Dub, I reach out to him. I say, Jay, listen, remember, Jay, I was like, you got to get, I just got into GT7, especially when I got into it with PSVR 2. He goes, let's go right now. Dropped everything he was doing, meets me online. We were gaming for about 3-4 hours, just racing, having a field day. So listen, guys, when it comes down to it, no matter whose shows you listen to, I always say that. Get a chance to reach out to them, talk to them, and find out that a lot of this stuff is for entertainment too. A lot of podcasting is entertainment. To be loud. Someone said to me, Mooch, a couple weeks ago, they're like, "Why are you yelling?" I'm like, "It's fun to get animated." I listen to New York radio, sports radio. I listen to New York sports radio all the time, and there's not one New York sports radio station that doesn't have people that are raising their voice. It's just passion. It's just loving what you do. I've been playing games for a very long time. Love gaming. Love sports. You know what I mean? So you're going to hear that passion come out in the show. It's not yelling like yelling. It's yelling like passionate about the topic. And that's the same thing with D. People are like, why is D getting loud? Because he's passionate about how he feels about that topic. And he feels that he's right. And he's going to put that out there, which I love. I love it. You're not going to ever come to Crossfire and hear whispering. I can promise you guys that.
No, that's a lie, man. It's from Z's old shows having to yell over everybody. So I just
that too. Yeah, you do have to yell. Yes, that's right. Shout out to Zaire. Shout out to Z. That is true. You had to if you wanted to be heard, you had to speak loud. This is the truth. Yeah. That's the truth. Shout out to the BGST crew as well. That being said, guys, I want to say thank you to everybody. Please go over and check out Mooch TV. It's M00CHTV. Real quick, shout out to everybody that leaves. Shout out to Death Singer. He had to bounce. He stayed for 3 hours, so shout out to him as well. The Crap Gamer. I know, dude. The Crap Gamer too. That's it's let me see here. Let me go. It's _Crap Gamer, and that's Crap Gamer Reviews on YouTube. You guys know, of course, Brap couldn't make it tonight, but shout out to Brap. Brap's doing Brap Podcast now Friday nights at 9 p.m. Shout out to the Gaming Forte, the Great Gaming Forte, and Slow-Mo Backslap. They're doing DPS right now. Go over and say hello. Tell him Mooch sent you. Shout out to Jez7780. He couldn't make it tonight. He wrote me. He goes, Mooch, I just can't make it. It's late. I said, Jez, we'll do it another week. I'll bother you like crazy. Shout out also to B Money. Hopefully B Money can meet up with us next week as well. If I missed anybody, I apologize. But I'll say thanks to everybody. Wise Old Gamer as well. Shout out to @WiseOldGamer. Go over and follow him, and he's doing his Wise podcast tomorrow night at around 6 p.m. Eastern time. That being said, guys, I know there's only 250 left in here. Hit the like button, and also I will be on Solidcast 9 p.m. Eastern time Saturday night this week with Blaze 4K. Shout out to Blaze 4K, my Italian brother. He is going to be, it's going to be a fantastic show. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't been on it in a while, and he was in the chat earlier. So shout out to Blaze. Come over and check out Mooch Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern over on Solidcast. Guys, we'll see you guys next week. I'm going to try next week, actually. I want to let you guys know. I should have said this earlier when there's more people here. I'm going to try. I don't know if I'll be back for a Thursday Crossfire. If we don't do a Thursday Crossfire, we'll do a Friday roundtable for Avowed. And, of course, we'll throw a couple other of the week's topics in there. Guys, hit the like button on the way out. Thanks to these guys for staying 3.5+ hours. We'll see you next week. Peace out.
Watch my video. It's live now.
Go check it out.
I'm watching it now.
Check that video out. Peace out, guys.
Peace, guys.